and welcome back again to the Paisan Sports Podcast presented by Recliner Media. Dante DePlacido joined as always by Zach Deal of What's the Deal Sports.
Dude, you just had like a recliner, like an aged recliner squeak to your voice with that promo right there.
You know what? That was just years of watching Always Sunny in Philadelphia rubbing off on me. That's like the kind of line delivery you get in Always Sunny. So that kind of just came out of me just now. But
came out of you just now. Wow.
Okay.
You're on a roll this morning.
This is a family show. This is a family show. What are we doing? Anyway, Dante DePlacido joined as always by Zach Deal of What's the Deal Sports. And listen. Know what's the deal this week, because instead of that, I want to give a round of applause. I want to give a round of applause to what has been a phenomenal Philadelphia Flyers season. Of course, they didn't get the job done against Carolina. They got swept, but I mean, it was just an incredible run. A very young team. They had no business even making the playoffs. They go to the playoffs. They beat Pittsburgh round 1, featuring a Game 6 overtime victory. Young team, bright future. I mean, they accomplished so much this season. So
let's start here, Dante. For them to get into the playoffs, they beat the Carolina Hurricanes in an overtime game. When the Carolina Hurricanes, we talked about this before, they clinched the 1 seed with that game going into overtime points-wise, and then the Flyers had to win the game in overtime, and they were a really good shootout team. Obviously, when it comes playoff time, just like the Ghost Runner in baseball, there's, that gets eliminated from the rule set.
Which I don't like that, by the way. I mean, who doesn't love a good shootout?
At the end of the season,
and not to cut you off, I'll let you get right back to that. But when I think about when Italy won the Euro Cup a few years back, those final 2 games, they both ended in penalty kicks, and it was electric. It was so much fun to watch. I wish playoff hockey could have that same feel with shootouts. I hate that they don't do shootouts.
It's just like
in playoff hockey. I don't like it. I'm not a fan, but go ahead.
I don't know. I feel like it's just... I like, would you... If we're going to go full overall topic, because the comparison that I made, and then we'll get back to what I was going to say, but... like Ghost Runner in baseball, which sport and teams would have more advantages in baseball with the Ghost Runner being eligible in a playoff game, or in hockey, NHL playoffs, the shootout game?
What I will say about that is this. I think those two things are entirely different, because a shootout is fun to watch. It's awesome. Oh, wow, we get to witness a shootout. It's not only fun to watch, but it's suspenseful. That's the word I'm looking for. Now, the Ghost Runner, that's just an added element to the game that makes it easier for a team to score runs. It's not like, oh, wow, we get to see a guy standing on second base.
I know, but the way that relief pitchers crumble in the playoffs, imagine with the Ghost Runner effect of some of these games and how they would play out in baseball.
And that's the other thing, too. Baseball isn't supposed to be the high-octane back and forth that you get with a shootout, right? Baseball is supposed to be, in some ways, a game of chess. It's supposed to be a slow grind. It's supposed to be a battle, right? I feel like that sort of added excitement and suspense belongs in hockey, where it doesn't necessarily belong in baseball, and the Ghost Runner doesn't really even bring that suspense. And
if we're going to do a full circle sports comparison, I think the sport, specific football, but specifically college football, has the best setup where after the first couple overtimes, then you have to go for 2, and then it becomes just a 2, like from the 2-yard line.
I can agree with that.
And then just for overtime rules in college football anyway, starting at the 25-yard line, I think they have it down pat of any sport. But I was thinking about basketball too. That's kind of like, seems like free throw shootout to end the game, which isn't a thing, but that would be wild.
No, that would be terrible.
Imagine Mitchell
idea.
Robinson versus Andre Drummond shooting for free throws for the Sixers season on the line.
No one would want to watch that. Nobody would want to watch that.
But I want to make it even crazier.
Stupid reason to decide the victor. That would be like if you ended a football game in a field goal.
Or no, just Oklahoma's for a football just to end, like literally.
I could see the XFL doing something like that.
Oh yeah, that would be like one of the more developmental leagues. But I was going to escalate the basketball thought. Imagine like you take your two best players on each side, one best player on each side, two best overall players in the game, and they go 1v1.
Now that's that's an idea. Now that's an idea. Or do like a 3v3 action.
Yeah.
Or what you do is you create a partnership with the Big Three, the league that Ice Cube owns. And because in the Big Three, you know how he has like those certain circles well beyond the 3-point line that counts as 4 points.
Oh, I hate that, bro.
but imagine that now.
Adding
and then three on three, and there's 4-point circles.
I tell people all the time before, with sports, the most new age implemented rule that I'm so on board with is the pitch clock in baseball, and I do like the ghost runner in the regular season. I think baseball did a really good job with adding those things to the game. But as a traditionalist of these sports, as far as adding different point scales to the game, I am so off board on that. I do not want to affect the game in that way.
Yeah, but it's not like a serious basketball.
Like shooting past the blue line in hockey, you're scoring 2 points instead of 1. That would be ridiculous. It's not a serious basketball
league. It's retired NBA players competing 3-on-3.
No, I'm talking about I'm talking about the conversation of you saying that because the NBA was talking about adding a 4-point shot.
No, I'm against that.
What do you think about
I'm against that myself. But wait, one thing I did want to mention. I don't know if you saw on Twitter, but I'd never even noticed this before. There's a WNBA team where their 3-point line is like a bright orange line and it blends in with the hardwood. You can barely see it. It's the worst 3-point line.
It's like those the NBA the in-season tournament, how they get
so much
with
worse.
The courts.
So much worse.
Yeah, you know whose court is sick, though?
You can barely see the 3-point line.
The Sixers court's obviously sick, and that's us growing up, so that's our favorite. But the Spurs court with the Miami Vice cover vibes is really sick.
Yeah, how they do it with the fans.
But I wanted to get back on track before we get back to talking about Rick Tocchet, because I wanted to talk about some of the things that the Flyers have to work on before we go into the other Philadelphia sports. But of all these things we just brought up with these other sports and things they're trying to add to the game, there was some smoke behind baseball, and I know you're a big baseball guy, with that golden bat thing of anointing there was a conversation about anointing your best batter, rewarding him with an at-bat at any point in the game at one point.
Yeah, that's stupid.
Yeah, I think.
Listen, here's the thing with baseball. It started to fall off a little bit, so they added some new rules to sort of speed up the pace, modernize it.
Yeah, but the best part is
let me get.
I know. I just want to add something real quick.
What?
They get to run a trial with these things in minor league baseball first, though. That's the luxury they have over other different, G League and the NBA could probably do something like. Football, NFL, you can't try it on college football.
But they usually use the preseason to try stuff out. But what I'm saying is, baseball, it started to fall off, but they added more modern rules, speed up the game, make it more interesting, right? One rule that I really like is limiting the mound visits. I think the abundance of mound visits was so unnecessary. I liked limiting how many times you can throw to first, although I think they limited it a bit too much for my liking, because then if you throw over and you don't get him, then that runner just has a major advantage because you don't want to throw over again and then be caught not being able to throw over one more time after that. So I think they limited it a little too much. And I'm not going to go down the list of all of them, but a lot of these rule changes were productive. They speed up the game. They made it more interesting. But a golden batter rule, now you're just doing too much. You're flying too close to the sun. Now you're actually tampering with the game. And what you're doing is basically how golf has that golf league Live Golf that everybody loves to hate on because it's just pure absurdity, and it was even parodied in the new Happy Gilmore movie. Now if you do that, you're starting to turn the MLB into the Live Golf of baseball. Which
you summarize that in one thing, because I want to see if it matches up exactly, because I agree with you, but I want to say one thing on that. But summarize that thought in one thing, as in why you really truly think it affects the game. What does it take away from the game of baseball in a way?
Well, it takes a lot away from.
But I'm trying to
I know, but what I want to say is for one, it takes a lot out of the strategy that managers need to have. Like when you're setting a lineup for the upcoming game, like there has to be a lot of strategy into that. When you bring in a pinch hitter late in the game, there has to be a lot of strategy.
That's like in the NFL.
And not only that, the other players outside of your like 4 best hitters, the Bryson Stotts of the world, they need to show up and do their thing.
Yeah, and that waters down the sport.
Yeah,
and that's like if I got Sean McVay as my coach in the NFL and I'm just allowed to move the ball inside the red zone at any point in an NFL game just because I have, like, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And have the advantage of having one of the best offensive coaches and my team is not showing up today and then I just get to move the ball at a crucial point. And like, dude, imagine if they were able to do that in the Super Bowl versus the Patriots when it was 13-3 in a random moment. Yeah, and that game would have been a lot closer.
Yeah, and one more thing I want to add too is, see, here's the thing. One, I am pro universal DH. Main reason being, if not for the universal DH, we never would have had the 2022 run because Bryce Harper was only able to hit after he came back from injury. But hold on. But what I will say, what I don't like about the universal DH is because I miss those special moments where sometimes a pitcher would just have like a key at bat at some point, like the Brett Myers walk against CC Sabathia that led to the Shane Victorino home run, or when Joe Blanton home run. Yeah, when Joe Blanton hit a home run in the playoffs, or when Jose Fernandez would he hit like a home run in like his first week in the major or something crazy.
But the best thing about baseball, the best thing about baseball right now is the best player in baseball is literally just. He's not even a DH. That's actually a pitcher. He pitches and hits home runs in the same game.
Yeah, but to get to my point, so with the universal DH, we've lost those special moments with pitchers at the plate. Now with the golden batter rule, now you're limiting those special moments with those bottom of the lineup hitters, guys you don't expect to get it done. The Bucky Dents of the world.
The dude that hit the home run for the Dodgers in the World Series to win them the World Series last year in the ninth inning. Yeah. I forget his name, but he was like the 7th or 8th or 9th hole hitter. But I think the universal rule set, if it's not in, like, you can't just have it in one league. And that was like when UFC was just actually in New Jersey last night in Newark, and the rule set for New Jersey actually has different rule sets than the overall rule set for what UFC is trying to do now in most of the states that they fight in. They usually fight in, obviously, Vegas because they had the home base there, but there were certain rule sets of stuff, and fighters are trained now to fight one way, and then you have them going back to the OG rule set, and it kind of like switches things up. So I think you have to be consistent with the rule set everywhere you go in every single sport. And I love those moments for the NL, but why was the AL not dealing with having pitchers having to at-bat? Why did it take so long to implement that as well, too?
Well, the funny thing with baseball was the difference.
Let me expand on that really quickly, because Kyle Schwarber used to play for the Boston Red Sox.
Yes.
He made his way to the NL.
Yes.
If I'm Kyle Schwarber...
he started in the NL. He's been like...
No, I'm saying but he made his way back to the NL. If I'm like a DH guy like that just really wants to hit baseballs and that's that, like, why would I ever leave the AL? Do you think Yordan Alvarez, if like the Astros are really... like, if the DH wasn't alive in the NL today, do you think Yordan Alvarez, with all the smoke of him being like the hottest name on the trade market because the Astros aren't really that good anymore and they need to rebuild their team for the next generation, so get rid of one of the best players of the generation to bring stuff back in return, do you think he would want to go to the NL where he would have to play a position if the DH wasn't alive in today's game?
Yeah, it's a good point, but what I was going to say was what's different with baseball versus the other major sports leagues is the NL and the AL used to truly be separated as leagues.
Yeah.
You know, like going back to, I mean, even before the 90s, the NL and the AL never even played each other in the regular season. And when they first started playing each other in the regular season, it was very limited. I think it was only after the All-Star break, if I remember correctly. A whole different set of rules. Matter of fact, the AL, you know this? They used to only play day games. That's why Shibe Park, eventually named Connie Mack Stadium, they didn't have spotlights because they never played at night.
I saw a story, and I know he's a controversial name, so I'm not going to expand too much on the topic, but just baseball-wise, Ty Cobb got stabbed and then went on to like hit multiple extra base hits in a game 3 hours later.
I never knew about that, but
He's also somebody
dude,
that
those
doesn't
baseball
have a great
stories,
reputation.
those baseball stories from back in the day are just absolutely insane. I mean, the craziest one is, in my opinion, it's not even like I wouldn't put that as an old baseball story like I would with a guy like Ty Cobb or guys like Shoeless Joe or Rolly Fingers, like those guys way back in the day. But I think the craziest baseball story is Wade Boggs taking down 70 beers on a charter flight and then
Dude, I love that.
having like 2 for 4 the next day.
Dude, isn't it great to hear as a Phillies fan that all these people like come in to do the cheesesteak challenge and then they're like, hopefully they're the best players on the other team, so they're getting really sick with food poisoning and they can't perform. But we also know that full circle as Eagles fans because Donovan McNabb actually threw up in every career game that he's ever played in Florida.
Well, he used to get
and apparently he ate a cheesesteak before the Super Bowl.
Well, here's the thing. Donovan McNabb used to go every Saturday to Talk of the Town to get a cheesesteak. I don't know if you remember Talk of the Town, but it was a cheesesteak spot in the location that is now Skinny Joey's. That used to be, back in the day, that used to be Talk of the Town.
Our guy,
and McNabb used to go there every
Matt shoots
Saturday
for them.
to get a...
We had him on the podcast, Matt Shiriko. I always say, I kind of butcher his last name too. I need to get better with the last names, being a play-by-play broadcast.
I mean, you're just bad at pronouncing names in
But
general.
CSB legend, yeah, Matt, he shoots the videos for them. So,
Well, anyway...
but Flyers, we got very little topic, but it was a lot of information. It was good stuff. I like that type of conversation. But where I was going, I remember Rick Tocchet. The thing the Flyers need to work on is they talked about their power plays just not being good, and that was actually something he was saying at the end of the regular season. And they were just leaving goals on the table.
Oh, yeah.
And they were literally giving up shorthanded.
They were
giving
even
up
doing that against Pittsburgh.
There were shorthanded goals.
Well.
They allowed that shorthanded goal, I think, in Game 3 to the Hurricanes, and that was just demoralizing. And what they put Vladar through, he's making every save in the book. They're up 2-1, I think it was Game 2 in Carolina, and he's just literally out there playing Dance Dance Revolution, Twister, blocking all these shots. Mm-hmm. They finally tie up the game like midway through the third period, and dude, from that point on to the overtime period and through the overtime period, he was literally, the puck was in the zone. I think the Flyers had it outside of the defensive zone maybe for an entire minute of all that time. And there's so much pressure, the floodgates are going to open at some point. It's like when we see Christopher Sanchez or Jesus Luzardo, who we know Jesus Luzardo has talent as a Phillies pitcher, and that's why he has a big contract, and his highlights are, his highlights are here and his lowlights are here. But once you sense the floodgates about to open, like, you got to change the system of what's going on. So, as we make a little cameo appearance of the dog here.
Oh, you were just outside. You were very hot.
This real quick.
All right. Well, while Zach takes care of that dog, I don't know why I'm talking like this today. But yeah, no, I mean, but just still to summarize it, I mean, this is such a young team. There's going to be issues, and they can only go up from here. Which, by the way, actually, you know what? Saying that just feels like such a Philly sports thing to say before everything just goes completely wrong after that. But they are a young team. They do have a lot of promise. I mean, you have a guy in Porter Marteau.
Well, that's like everyone's talking about them playing with house money, and we know how good Carolina is. I think I was looking at the betting lines. It's like plus 160 for them to come out of the conference. They're the number one seed. Not even come out of the conference to win they're like plus 160 or plus 170 to win the Stanley Cup Finals. So, I mean, you're going against the best team. And it's good experience for a bunch of young guys to play against a team like that, because you never know what that sparks. You beat your rival, and then if you would have caught a game versus the Hurricanes, which, like we talked about, they had their chances. They were up 2-1 late in Game 2, and then yesterday went into overtime, Game 4, and it was close, and, that's all you can ask for. So
yeah, and if you want to hear the worst,
also Owen Tippett, their dude that they're paying like a top 2 to 3 contract on the roster, 8 years, $49 million, didn't play for like pretty much the entire series, and so it's like.
And Konechny didn't really show up much in that series.
But I think if we're talking like roster construction wise, I'm not going to sit here and lie to you guys like I know all the names that are available in the NHL, and I'm getting better with the names, but. I think offensively they're going to definitely try to add to that department, because I think they have a group of young defensemen that were actually scoring in the Pittsburgh Penguins series that not only that, they're good defenders. I mean, you can't really take what we saw versus the Carolina Hurricanes, because they're going to put up 3 goals on you pretty much every single game. That's just how good of a team they are.
Yeah.
But I think you have a building block with Vladar. Maybe you add a better option to complement him as a backup goalie for the regular season so he can stay a little bit healthier for the playoff run, because now he didn't even think he was going to be the goalie throughout the season until it really progressed into that. And now if you fill out the roster, get a backup goalie to complement him, because you know he's capable of putting up 42 saves in a shutout in the playoffs, you know what I mean, to win you a series. So you build on him. I think he's 28 years old, about to be 29. You got the foundation of like Michkov, who needs to play better and have a little bit more IQ on the ice, so he's not getting benched in games for guys that have not really played too much time, like Bump. But at the end of the day, I mean,
I think it's his second year in the league. You know,
he put up 20 goals back-to-back seasons.
Yeah,
so Porter Martone.
No, I mean, yeah, a lot of problems with him, and yeah, Porter Martone. That was the next guy I was going to talk about. I mean, that's a guy who just entered the NHL.
Yeah, like 20 career NHL games. So I think they're in a good direction.
Oh, absolutely.
It's just funny during the series. I remember everybody was rocking the I forget what the outside series is called for NHL. I'm drawing a blank off the top of my head, but everybody had the Goss to Spare outside like series jerseys back in the day in like 2016 when the Flyers were like really
that
hot.
was a defenseman that could score goals.
Yeah, but he was on the other side in the series, so hearing his name in the series was just hilarious, because I remember like Gostisbehere is like what Flyers fans thought was like one of the building pieces of like the direction of the team for a long time.
It's
and then it
funny
just didn't
when you
work
go
out.
back to that era of Philly sports. There was a lot of guys that you thought would be like corner pieces to our teams, like Shane Gostisbehere, Ben Simmons, Carson Wentz, Michael Franco, like guys.
Dude, that was just the
guys you
dark
thought would
days,
be
dude.
like the future in Philly sports, and it just did not.
That was like when I was kind of getting out of high school too, so I'm like really, you know what I mean? I'm like really, I was already connected with it in my entire life, obviously being around the game of football from my dad, but as like a Philadelphia sports fan, like when you're like 18, you're like really fired up about that stuff, like crazy fired up, and like, dude, we were ass. Everybody. Ryan Matthews, Jordan Matthews were like our 2 complement skill position players on our offense with like Zach Ertz.
Yeah.
Not hating on Zach Ertz, but there's other guys. You know
number
what I mean?
1 pick, Mickey Moniak, didn't pan out for
Cameron
years.
Rupp was
up until now. But
Cameron Rupp was our best power hitter in like 2015, 2016, hitting like 22 home runs.
Remember when we thought Tommy Joseph was going to be good?
Dude, remember Tony Roten Jr.?
Don't disrespect Tony Roten. Do not disrespect Tony Roten.
He got hurt,
and he wasn't
and
a
it was a
junior.
wrap.
He was just Tony Roten.
I'm pretty sure it was Tony Roten.
It was not Tony Roten Jr. I could bet my life on it.
Let's see.
But I think now's a good time to
Oh yeah, I'm tripping. I don't know why I said.
Yeah, I don't know why you said that either. But now I think is a good time to talk some Phillies baseball, right? Because hey, Don Mattingly, he's got these guys playing well, man. I mean, they're really starting to turn it around. They've gotten blown out a couple times in the past week, but overall, I would say they're doing really well. And even though they lost a game recently, that they lost in extras. I mean, they were down 7-0 or something crazy in that game, and they eventually took it into extras. So this is a team with a lot of fight. And one of the corner pieces, talking about young corner pieces in Philly, one of the big corner pieces I think of this team right now is Justin Crawford, a guy who's batting .281 on the season, who has 2 walk-off hits this season. And
let's start here real quick.
His first career MLB home run to help send it into extras.
How many home runs? That's exactly what I was going to ask you.
1.
No, how many is he going to get?
Oh, how many this season?
You know who I was trying to find? I was trying to look up. He's got 30 when he hit his first career home run. It was his 33rd career MLB game. So I was trying to find the pace, but it sucks because these guys didn't start as Phillies. There's those eras of all these baseball players that we acquired, besides like Pat Burrell with the number 1 overall pick who we like drafted. And obviously like the trio that blossomed, we all know who the trio is of like the OG Phillies, but some of those guys that just didn't exactly start their career with the Phillies, but like made their way into like Shane Victorino didn't play his first career MLB season with the Phillies.
Yeah.
So I'm trying to find Shane Victorino's first career 33 games and to match up with Justin Crawford, because I'm thinking to myself, dude, if Justin Crawford can be this era's Shane Victorino and give you like 12 to 13 home runs, make 2 to 3 All-Star games, be one of the best outfielders, and use his speed to hit, accumulate triples and just get on base and cause havoc. I mean, not only did he hit that home run to tie the game, he also got on when Bryce couldn't capitalize in the guy on third. He got on first, and there was a guy on third with Bryce Harper at the plate in the extras to potentially get with the game-winning run at the plate and Bryce Harper. So he had an infield single to make that happen.
Yeah.
This guy just produces. That's all he really knows how to do. And it's nothing special. And we talked about, is this actually going to work? And I love the conversation about this dude just, he doesn't have the Ken Griffey Jr. swing or, other sports we see it. He can't do this. Like basketball, he's not a 5-tool player, but he does do one thing well. And then when you see, it doesn't always have to look pretty for someone to be able to be effective.
And here's the thing, too. One, I will say, Justin Crawford, when comparing him to Shane Victorino, I think Justin Crawford has the potential to be that Shane Victorino type, but just better with a higher batting average, right? That's what I kind of expect out of Justin Crawford. But the other thing I will say is, when was the last time the Phillies have actually called up a promising prospect and they have delivered? They've turned into a star player. Kind of Rhys Hoskins a little bit, not really.
Yeah, but do you think this is a lot easier for us to, because we accept, we just talked about, it doesn't have to be pretty, we're not expecting the home runs. This isn't where... Dominic Brown back in the day? This isn't where we're trying to force the issue.
Well, and that's the thing, because that's kind of what I'm getting to, right? Is, Justin Crawford isn't a Dominic Brown where he just goes on an insanity run for a couple of weeks. No, this is a guy who was a very high prospect, who is the son of an MLB legend, a guy who has a lot of promise, and so far he's showing it in the MLB. So there's actually a chance we finally call someone up and he develops into a star
let me answer
player.
your question.
Yeah.
Guy I'm very critical of. Who is that guy? That's the answer to your question.
I'm confused on what you're saying to me right now.
You said, when was the last time we had a guy like this do this? We went to the World Series because Bryson Stott was playing for us in the infield.
He was playing pretty well.
He was the role player that we needed on that team. And that's what Justin Crawford is for this team.
You know what? That's a good segue, actually. Because Bryson Stott, right now, hey, he's doing that thing, too.
Why are they all hitting home runs? Alec Boehm gets a day off, and then he hits 2 home runs. And, that's all we want to... if Alec Boehm can hit 20 home runs, this team actually can do something, in my opinion.
And you know what's so funny? It's the guy is 6'4". We shouldn't be oh man, dude, if he can hit 20, no, he should be hitting 20 every year.
Dude, he was a 3rd overall pick in baseball.
Yeah,
too.
3rd overall pick, 6'4", third baseman, and he can't even put up 20 home runs.
He's gotten close. It's just
yeah, but that's the thing. He needs to do better than close.
Dude, I'll take if Alec Boehm can be Michael Harris, and he's a better batter than Michael Harris. But if he can provide Michael Harris what he does for the Braves, I'll take that.
Well, let me just see something with Alec Boehm. Alec Boehm right now on the season, he has 3 home runs.
I'm not a closet Braves fan either. If people are going to call me up,
so he did hit 20. So he did.
Though.
So Boehmer actually, you know what? He had a really good 2023. Looking back on it, he had 20 homers,
that's what I'm saying,
97 RBI. 274 batting average, not the highest on base or slugging, so he had kind of a mediocre OPS at 765, but still, I'll take 274, 20 homers, and 97 ribby all day long, playing 145 games that year. So, listen, he's not, that's the thing, it's he's capable of doing it, but when you're the 3rd overall pick, you should be doing it every year. We shouldn't be looking at you as, oh, you're capable.
Yeah, but you can't force somebody to just be who they're not. And I don't want, dude, the year that he made the All-Star
team. He's batting 177 right now.
Dude, the year he made the All-Star team, I don't want to hear about batting average when Kyle Schwarber's your favorite player, and you always...
Well, yeah, I guess if you have a great on-base percentage to go along with it, it kind of cancels out. Boehm doesn't have that. Was Boom's on
But
base
dude,
percentage.
the year that he went to the All-Star team,
241 on base percentage. It's not nearly the same thing as Kyle
the year he
Schwarber.
made the All-Star team, all those doubles that he was hitting was crucial.
No, yeah, that's what I mean. And like, here's the thing too. Here's the other thing I will say is I don't put as much stock into on base percentage as other people do, because I'll tell you one thing. I was on a work appointment this past week during a Phillies game where it was runners on second and third with 2 outs, and I think it might have even been Kyle Schwarber at the plate. And I said to this couple, I said, the people who say a walk is just as good as a hit, this is where they are wrong. Because with 2 outs, runners on second and third, a walk is definitely not as good of a hit. So no, that's why when I was looking at Boom's stats from 2023, and I said, hey, not the highest OPS, because he didn't have the highest on base percentage or slugging, I will still take that 274, that 20 home run, that 97 RBI. I'll still take that because that's still adding a lot of value. That's still making a big impact on the game. Like, I think batting average is still very important. I don't think you should just completely overlook it in favor of on base percentage. There are people that think that way. I still put stock into on base percentage, because when you get on base, good things can happen. It's just like when you put the ball in play. It's like
your 2-hole hitter cannot be batting under 200. That's not acceptable.
Well, he's not. Well, he hasn't batted under 200. He only batted under 200 the one season. And when you accompany that with a high on base percentage,
dude, that
a
one
high
season,
OPS, and you accompany it with 40+ bombs every year,
bro, you're talking
then
about
I'm
a
willing
season
to
when
let
he
it
hit,
slide. I'm willing to let it slide.
You're talking about a season when he hit those home runs. He just got over 200 at the end of the season. He was batting like 182 that one season that you're referring to. I'm doing some producer work right now, so that's why.
But the point I'm making is when you're hitting 40+ bombs every year and you're at least getting on base at a high clip, I'm willing to excuse the low batting average. 100%.
No, I'm not.
There's more good than bad.
There's a trade-off with him being one of the best power hitters in the league. I understand that. I'm just saying, not the terms of him. There's no value on putting into or devaluing his power bat. I'm saying, as when I look at it, what the top of your lineup should produce. No other team puts a guy out there with a lower batting average in that spot. I'd rather have him as the cleanup guy.
Because most guys with a batting average that low aren't hitting 40+ bombs and getting on base that much.
There's other people that crank bombs. I think Luis Robert, his best profile ever, he wasn't a high batting average, but he was hitting 37 bombs. He's batting cleanup for the.
We're talking 40+ with Schwarber. First of all, he led the league in walks in 2024, and he's had 2 seasons with more walks than that. He gets on base a ton. So I'm not saying you don't need to hit, you just need to get on base, but I still put value into getting on base a ton. I still do. I absolutely, especially you're talking about the 2-hole. If you're getting on base right before your 3-hole hitter, and theoretically, usually if you're getting on base right before your 3 and 4-hole hitter, that's very valuable. In the case of this era of Phillies baseball, you can't put any stock into getting on base before the 4-hole hitter because we've never had a good 4-hole hitter during this era.
Yeah.
But still, getting on base before the 3-hole hitter or before the 3 and 4-hole hitter, there's still a lot of value in that. I can't dismiss that. Just because the batting average is low. And then you also put in 40+ home runs to boot along with it. But that is one other thing I want to talk about today, because a milestone has been reached. Kyle Schwarber, in a very short period of time, has now hit his 200th career home run as a Philly.
Yeah. I mean,
it's insane.
As a Philly. Yeah,
it's insane.
As a Philly.
As a Philly.
Yeah,
he's at what? How many is he at for his career? He's at 354 for his career. So
they give him 5 for 125? Was that the contract?
Might have been something like that.
Or was it 5 for 130? I think it was 5 for 130. So if you accumulate that with what he makes, 5 for 130, if that's I had to look it up. I always get upset when I don't have the exact number because I want to make this reference here.
But just to put it into perspective, Kyle Schwarber is currently 11th.
All right, so it was 5 for 150. So the 5 for 150. So that's 30 per. You paid him originally 20 per because it was 5 for 20 or 4 for 20 originally for 80 or 100 total. That was the original free agent contract to get Kyle Schwarber onto the Phillies roster with Nick Castellanos in the same offseason.
Yeah.
So when you accumulate paying him $20 million and then progressing that $10 more million to $30 million, and he gives you 200 plus home runs in that time period, I would say signing Kyle Schwarber was a pretty big success.
Oh, absolutely.
Especially in the new age National League DH era that we have been accustomed to.
Well, and just to put it into perspective, Kyle Schwarber is 11th all-time in Phillies home runs at 201 with 667 games played. The next guy ahead of him, who has 204 home runs, has 1,070 games played. The guy right behind Schwarber with 195 home runs, a guy who was a good power hitter, Bobby Abreu, 1,353 games played. This is insane pace we're seeing from Kyle Schwarber. And also just an honorable mention, then sitting at 13th with 188 home runs is Bryce Harper with 898 games played. So also great pace from Harper.
Let me ask you this because it sparks a random thought to me.
Ask me that and I got something to ask you. So quick question here.
Whose is more impressive? Tyrese. Let me throw out the entire package at you. Mm-hmm. Tyrese Maxey already being the Sixers' all-time three-point leading shooter of all time. Mm-hmm. Devontae Smith already being the Eagles' all-time playoff leading receiver. Mm-hmm. Nolan Smith already being the Eagles' all-time sacks leader in the playoffs.
Yeah.
Or Porter Martone being the first teenager in NHL history to score in back-to-back playoff games to start his career.
I'm going to say the top two is the last two you mentioned. And the reason why, Tyrese Maxey, I don't think it's, as much as I love Maxey, I don't think it's that impressive because it's a whole different era of basketball where you're shooting a ton more threes. I mean, if you look at the Sixers all-time three-point leaders, it's all modern guys. I mean, Robert Covington is super far up on the list. So is Furkan Korkmaz. So I don't think that one is that impressive. Nolan Smith, I would say, is very impressive because when you look at, like, Devontae Smith, right, the Eagles have never really had a top-tier wide receiver multiple years in the playoffs before, and that's why I don't think Devontae Smith is that impressive, because when you look at our top-tier receivers, you know, Terrell Owens, one season in the playoffs, Harold Carmichael, I don't think he really played in the playoffs. Deshaun Jackson, that team didn't consistently get to the playoffs, right? But Nolan Smith, I mean, when you look at the history of Eagles football and you look at the history of pass rushers, we had some big names consistently getting into the playoffs. Guys like Reggie White, guys like Fletcher Cox, guys like...
I just want to add in there real quickly, though. Start naming some shooters since we've grown up in the NBA that aren't Steph Curry and Klay Thompson of that notoriety, but strict shooters, just strict, absolute cannon shooters.
Kyle Korver.
Who do you play for?
Sixers. Hawks.
Name another one.
Cavs.
Name another white boy
Jazz.
Shooter. Name another white boy
another white boy shooter.
Of the generation, one of the best.
Luke Kennard.
Stop. I mean, yeah, but stop. You're close,
Bogdanovich.
No, you're close.
Bohan Bogdanovich.
No, you're close with Luke Kennard.
JJ Redick.
Who do you play for?
Sixers.
So we got some dudes that were ripping threes, and that's all they literally did for the Sixers.
Well, here's the thing. Kyle Korver played on the Sixers during an era where there wasn't much three. This was pre-Steph Curry.
He was the face of shooting threes of that era.
Yeah, but this was the pre-Steph Curry era of the NBA.
Let me ask you this real quick on that. Who had more
JJ
swag?
Redick was here 2 years.
Who had more swag? Allen Iverson?
And JJ Redick is in our top 10. He was here 2 years.
Who had more swag? Allen Iverson?
Uh-huh.
Arguably the GOAT. Everyone says Allen Iverson is the face of, like, NBA, fashion, everything.
Yeah. shifted the culture
Kyle
completely.
Korver with those,
Allen Iverson.
Kyle Korver with the knee-high socks, ripping
Allen
threes.
Iverson. First of all,
with the Justin Bieber haircut.
First of all, Dr. J did the knee-high socks first. But anyway, back to what I was going
Baggy
to...
shorts, knee-high socks era.
Back to what I was going to ask you, right? Because this is... I thought about doing this as a separate video or just asking you on the podcast, but I mean, it's kind of come up, so I'm going to ask you on the podcast. So, Kyle Schwarber is now 11th all-time in Phillies home runs, 3 away from being top 10, or tied for top 10. Name me the 10 guys ahead of Kyle Schwarber.
Repeat that. I was reposting the link.
Kyle Schwarber is 11th all-time in Phillies home runs, very close to being in the top 10. Name me the 10 guys in the top 10 ahead of Kyle Schwarber as it stands right now.
And we're talking about hitting home runs as a member of the Philadelphia
of the Philadelphia Phillies.
All right, I want to get this one out of the way. My favorite Philly of all time. And I know you just aren't going to know for some reason who my favorite baseball player and Philly of all time is for some reason. I made it adamant about this guy. Hasn't played that long for the Phillies in totality.
Oh, I know who you're going to say. And he's not on the list.
But he's a good name, though, because that's one of the greatest.
By the way,
power
just so everyone knows who he's talking about, Jim Thome.
Yeah, so Jim Thome.
Yeah, not on the list, but...
Arguably top 5 power hitters of all time. Hit, 600 career home runs plus?
Yeah.
But was on the Phillies on 2 different occasions. Kind of like the Deshaun Jackson of the Phillies. But, I mean, he's Deshaun Jackson's like a borderline Hall of Famer NFL-wise. I think Deshaun Jackson's got a case for being the NFL Hall of Fame as in special teams and, dude, he has the most 70-yard touchdowns in the history of the NFL.
Yeah, no, I can agree with that, but not to get off topic, give me the...
Jim Thome, I was just saying, comparison, Jim Thome, 600 career home runs, 3 seasons with the Phillies. He could have, but didn't. Yeah. Bobby's on there.
Bobby Abreu.
Back-end Bobby.
I already told you Abreu's behind Schwarber. I already said that.
Oh, so he cracked into... So he's the one that got out for Kyle Schwarber to get in.
Well, no, because Schwarber's not in the top 10 yet.
Oh, he's creeping up. All right.
Yeah.
Now, I'm just looking for a little bit of context here. I know... Your boy, your favorite jersey, you always rocks in there.
Well, yeah, he's number 1 all time.
Yeah.
Yeah, Mike Schmidt. I mean, that's the easiest one.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Ryan, obviously.
Yep, he's number 2.
Talking about the longevity, I think Chase could be back end. 9 or 10.
6.
6?
Yeah, he's number 6.
Pretty good.
Yeah.
Jimmy could even possibly be very back end because he had the 20s.
He's number 9.
Yeah.
Right, yeah, so and that's all the longevity. 2090
games. Okay, so I got 4 for 4 so far.
Yeah.
All right, let me keep going through. I gotta dive into the '90s team, the more '90s era.
Is there a '90s guy in here? Did this guy play in the '90s?
Let me think. They got a lot of history. Are we dating back all the way 1894?
There is. Because
they had those crazy records in the 1894 and stuff.
There are 2 guys on here who are super old. Outside of that,
I probably won't get those names.
You have one guy from. I think he played. I think this guy played in the 70s.
70s, early 80s when they had success too. I'm trying to go back.
I'm trying to pull up when I pull up the whatchamacallit, the stat news page. It just gives me their date of birth.
I'm trying to go dive into the eras, and they're all combining at once in my brain. While
I will tell you, you're missing.
Let me think of
You're missing a more modern guy.
Is somebody that speaks that talks for the Phillies on that list? If you know what I'm saying.
Somebody who talks for.
Someone who commentates for the Phillies on that list.
No, Kruk's not on here.
Okay, I was thinking maybe.
Dude, his power numbers are way lower than you would think for a guy of his stature.
Yeah, I know, but I'm just trying to see here.
Yeah, no, he's not on the list. You are missing a guy from an era where you've already guessed a few people. And I think you're missing the main guy. I don't think you named him yet. No, you didn't.
Yeah, I'm just having a massive brain fart on that for some reason. I don't know why. Bryce is out. Bryce?
No.
Close?
No, he's behind. He's 2 behind Schwarber.
Yeah, everything's coming at me at once, and I'm trying to compartmentalize my thoughts right now, and I'm having all the errors slip into me at once. Oh my god. Pat's not on that list?
He is, yeah. You were missing Pat. He's number 4.
Oh, 4, okay.
Yeah.
I know. I was gonna wait to throw him in at the end because I'm thinking of the harder names, but I kind of knew Pat was on there.
I mean, so what you have less, one that's super obvious. I don't know how you haven't guessed it yet. You have a couple old guys, but there are names that
I don't
you
know
hear.
how I'm dropping the super obvious one.
The two names, there are two guys who are like old guys that way before our time, but you've heard the name a million times in the realm of Phillies baseball. Another guy who, he was born in 1950, so he played, in like the 70s. And another guy who was born.
All right, so what? I got 5 of the names so far?
Yeah, you got 5 so far.
Damn.
Like, they're all well-known names in the realm.
I know. I'm just like...
Actually, there's one that's not. There's one that's really difficult. I don't think you're going to get it, but the other ones are definitely gettable.
I'm drawing a blank, bro. I had so many different thoughts going of baseball. I'm like thinking of... I'm trying to think straight, and I'm thinking of Bobby Abreu's home run contest repeating in my brain. I can't even think straight.
I will say with that, you're getting close to think.
That's the error, dude. I tell people the reason why I'm upset.
The next year after that. Think of the next year after that.
The reason why I'm upset is because I always tell people the trio era when it started, like 2005 and then on. I used to play the 2004 MLB video game. I forget what it's called. And the 2014 was like Mike Lieberthal, David Bell, Placido Polanco. The first time I was around, all those guys was.
Yeah, I know what you're thinking about. But think of Bobby Abreu's home run derby. Think of the next year. Think of the year after that.
Dude, I don't know. You have to tell me now. You have to tell me.
Ryan Howard, motherfucker.
Dude, I said Ryan in the very beginning. I said Ryan's not on there. I already said Ryan 5 minutes ago.
I don't remember you saying Ryan.
I'll literally clip you on here. I said Ryan's on there, obviously, and you said, yeah, right, you got the trio. You said that to me.
Wait, I did not say you got the trio.
Because I said Chase.
So you got Schmidt, Howard, Pat, Utley, J.
Yeah, you're tripping, dude. I literally said Chase is probably on there too, and that's expanded that thought. I thought he was 9. You said he was 6, and then Jimmy was 9, and I said Jimmy's in there too because he had the 20+ home runs. That was
all right. Well, that could be my bad. I don't remember you saying Ryan. But if
dude, I know Ryan Howard is smacking the home runs in the home run derby.
If you want the guys you missed, do you want me to just give you the guys you missed?
Yeah.
All right. So kicking off with number 10, you have Dick Allen.
I have.
That's a big name. I have his bobblehead.
Yeah, that is on there.
I have his bobblehead. Okay. God damn it. Then at number 8, the guy you were never going to get, Cy Williams, born in 1887. You were never getting that.
Was that C.Y.?
C.Y., yeah. C.Y. Williams.
Why do we not see that name anymore? And that was like prominent back in the day. Cy Young, Cy Williams.
Yeah, that's a good point. I don't know. Now, number 7, gettable one, Greg Luzinski. Big name. He was number 7. Then you move down to number 5.
Wait, hold on. I might be able to throw out a name that I haven't thrown out now that you're going through the thing. The dude, oh, man, the controversial dude. I'm drawing a blank on his name. The really controversial
Pete Rose?
Dude. No. I mean, Pete Rose is probably...
Odubel Herrera?
No. The other...
The guy that went back to his home country in Haiti during the offseason and killed somebody?
No. He just says crazy stuff all the time.
Harrison Bader?
No. What's his name, man? Jeez, how are you going through the catalog?
While you're thinking of that, just to give you the rest of the list. So Chuck Klein was number 5. Number 3, the last...
Lenny Dykstra.
Oh, yeah. No, not on here. Number 3, the last guy you missed, Dale Ennis.
Yeah, I'm not getting that.
Yeah. But, yeah, like Dick Allen, Greg Luzinski, Chuck Klein. Those, I feel like Dick Allen, I mean... I've always known of Dick Allen to be a power hitter. But
so what do we think?
And now, just to look at one more active guy who's in the top 25 for the Phillies. Actually, I'll let you guess. What active Philly do you think is in the top 25 currently? Phillies home runs.
Active Philly?
Active Philly.
Repeat that one more time, my bad.
What active Philly is also in the top 25 of Phillies home runs?
Active Philly also in the Phillies home runs.
Yeah, I'll give you a hint. He's 22nd on the list with 122 home runs and 856 games played.
It's Bryce.
No.
856 with 122 for the Phillies?
He has 122 home runs with 856 games played. Bryce Harper.
Oh, that's got to be. Is that JT?
That's JT.
Yeah, I was gonna say because he was 20.
And Hoskins, who's not an active Philly but active in the league, is 18th all time with 148. Would be even higher if he didn't miss an entire season.
Yeah, Bryce has way more than that. I just was focused on the games wise. But when you said when I did the math, 122 for 856, that sounded like the trade off of like the production of JT. So
yeah.
But yeah, I mean. The newer generation of Philadelphia sports, I mean, the Phillies players are OGs, you know what I mean? They're not like as in the Sixers, we got Tyrese cooking at the age of 25, VJ cooking at 20. Joel is obviously older with Paul George, but like those guys being on the list, like Devontae Smith and Nolan Smith, they're young. Like,
yeah.
Bryce Harper's been, Devontae Smith was the Heisman Trophy winner. He's got clout too, the same way. But as in for guys that carved out a career somewhere else and were very hyped up and then came to the Phillies, and they're older in their career, like those other guys too, that's like a reason why I think it's impressive for these young names to be on the list and like carving that. Like at the end of the day, regardless of the era, Tyrese Maxey was the 21st pick in the 2020 draft, and he's 25 years old, and he's already that's pretty crazy context when you think about him already. And Allen Iverson, I know he's a mid-range guy as opposed to like shooting more threes, but at the end of the day, Allen Iverson was one of the greatest scorers, 3 level of all time that the NBA has ever seen, could get to any spot on the court. And for your name to be above that is definitely impressive.
But, here's the thing. Iverson wasn't even that good of a three-point shooter for his era, and it was an era where they weren't shooting nearly as many threes as they were today. But I think Tyrese Maxey, when his career is all said and done, and we're many years past his career and nobody has touched his three-point record, I think it will be more impressive then, because I think Maxey will play many years here hitting a lot of threes, and I think he will continue to build on that record, and it will stand for a long time, and I think then it will look more impressive. But right now, it's been an easy ride to the top. Now, it will be a hard ride to the top that Maxey is going to create, and I think that's what will make it more impressive. But I think just getting there right now, as much as I love Maxey and as great of a three-point shooter as he is, I don't find beating out everyone else on that list all that impressive. But just to, finish talking some Phillies here, a couple other things I wanted to talk about. For one, I want to talk about a couple guys in the bullpen. Because one guy who's having a great season, who I've been a big advocate for since he got called up to the MLB, and he's shown reasons to not believe in him, but I've believed in him this whole time, and he's having a great season right now. That's Orion Kerkering. He's pitching really well.
I thought you were going to go a different direction. I was about to yell at you.
Who?
I mean, I still believe in him. I think he's got a bright future. It's been a very, very rough start to begin his career. Andrew Painter.
Well, that's who I'm getting. Well, that's who I'm getting to in a second. But like I said, I was talking bullpen. So that's the guy I want to give a shout out to in the bullpen. Now, another guy I need to talk about. Stop putting Brad Keller in high leverage situations.
Oh, goodness, dude.
It was working well at first. It's not anymore. Cut it out. Don't use him in high leverage situations. You have Alvarado. You have Kerkering. Alvarado had a shaky start, but he's been really good the past 10 games. So you have Alvarado, you have Kerkering, you have Duran. Stop putting in Brad Keller, for the love of God. I mean, we would have came back and won that game the other day if Brad Keller didn't screw everything up.
I know, and the game that they came back into the other night, that they ended up losing with the Justin Crawford situation to the Rockies. One, when you lose to the Rockies at home, when you lose to the Rockies when they're at home, it's a little bit more acceptable because that ballpark gets funky with the way that balls can travel out of there with the elevation effect. Shout out to Elevation 5280 Sports. Bada bing, bada boom, baby. But no, for serious, that is like an actual thing. Like when the Rockies actually play good, it's usually at home.
Yeah.
But
well, yeah.
When you go down that deficit in Citizens Bank Park, it's pretty gross. Where I'm going at with this is though, they brought Johan Duran in the game in the 8th inning, and it was like 7-2. And I'm like, yeah, why is Duran in the game right now? And then I'm like, now I'm starting to see the vision of this actually sparking a comeback and keeping the game at the spot that it is, not allowing the runs, and then that sparked the comeback. And that was one of the reasons why they were able to get back in the game. It's the little stuff that Don Mattingly does outside of, our boy that's out of here now, but Dylan Moore, when he found himself in that 4-hole, I gotta reference that all the time. That's just one of my
is that the worst 4-hole hitter of this film?
I love referencing it. I brought it up so many times. one, I always repeat things by accident, but also because like it leaked into like one of the last things that Rob Thompson, got canned for was like the cherry on top. It leaked into the Don Mattingly era too.
Yeah.
But it's just but in a positive way, Don Mattingly, those little decisions that he actually makes seems like they're actually impacting the game as opposed to Rob Thompson's lack of urgency and the things that he wasn't doing.
Yeah. Now, moving down the things that I want to talk about with the Phillies, actually the next thing I was going to talk about is Andrew Painter. And I want to pose the question to you. I know my answer to this question, but I want to pose the question to you. Are you becoming concerned with Andrew Painter at this point?
Yeah, that was when I was thinking about topics for this week. That was actually something I thought about originally when I just thought of the Phillies. And I was like, where is this direction? You know what that thought escalated into? We have Johan Duran.
Yeah.
How do we have him?
We traded Tate. I forget his first name.
Yeah, also, and then also around that time period, right around then, we got rid of Mick Abel. I don't think that was in that trade.
He was in the trade.
Yeah,
it was him and Tate.
Yeah. So, did we trade the wrong pitcher at that point in time? Because when I say that, Mick Abel isn't, as in, I should say. If I compare the two players with each other, I don't think Mick Abel could reach the ceiling that Andrew Painter is going to reach one day in his career, or could potentially reach. But I raised the question because when you look at that trade, obviously I'm very happy, and as Phillies fans and as the Phillies for themselves are very fortunate to have Johan Duran holding down the bullpen. But, like I said, Mick Abel is probably not going to reach the height of what Andrew Painter could reach. But Andrew Painter in that moment would have got you a lot more back. And if it doesn't work out for whatever reason, then you missed an opportunity to really hit a gigantic hole in a team that feels like it needed to be rejuvenated and replenished for the next era with a real stale roster.
So to now talk on my thoughts on Andrew Painter, I mean, this was a guy who in the minor leagues showed potential to be a future Cy Young winner. And, it was unfortunate he had to get Tommy John, and he didn't look all that great in the minors last year coming off Tommy John, and he hasn't looked very good at times in the majors this year, but he's shown flashes. He's had some decent games, some high strikeout games. His biggest issue, in my opinion, so far this season is he really gets into his pitch count. It seems like every outing he really gets into that pitch count, and that's what ends up affecting him. But and he
what do you think
that?
What do you think that is though? Like, do you think that's like he's
that's
like too bought into like what he does as opposed to like progressing his overall pitching skill set to be able to throw different pitches? As in he like throws the same thing over and over, expecting it to work, and then when it doesn't work, he doesn't really have too much to turn to.
Yeah, I think it's not so much him struggling with command as it is him dipping into his repertoire too much, and trying to. Do a bit too much on the mound instead of just going after hitters. I think that's what I mean. Like, I think like him throwing outside of the zone as much as he does, to me, it feels more intentional than it being an issue with command. But, I think he still has a ton of promise. He's still, in the early parts of his rookie season, he's shown flashes. I definitely don't think it's time to give up on him already. And there are pitchers that us as fans, we have been super ready to give up on, right? The guy who, was he on the Marlins now? What was his name? Like Trevor Phillips or something like that?
Yeah, Tyler Phillips.
Tyler Phillips, that's right.
He was the one that brought up that everyone infamously, he was the guy that Dave Dombrowski said, I don't think we need to make any trades for pitchers at the trade deadline, because he was the guy that pitched like those 2 good games, and then they didn't make a move, and then it kind of flared out.
And then he didn't pitch well, and then we all gave up on him after he had those 2 great
That's actually kind of very similar to like Isaiah Joe. That was like kind of like one of those situations.
He had those 2 great performances, and then he didn't pitch well after that, and us as fans were like, oh, well, I guess he turns out he isn't good. And then we as fans gave up on him. The Phillies organization gave up on him. Same thing with Mick Abel. Like, we give up on these pitchers so fast, and then they leave here, and then they pitch well. So the idea to give up on Andrew Painter this early, I think, is absolutely absurd. I think he still has a bright future. I think with a guy who has as much potential as Andrew Painter, I think you give him the full year as a starter to see what he can do. And if you want to say, well, you can't really do that and then have like a scheduled loss the fifth game of the rotation.
Yeah, but I think getting rid of...
What I will say to that is, motherfucker, we just had Taiwan Walker for 3 years. We've been dealing with that the whole time.
I thought we were going to get out of having to potentially do a bullpen game because we got rid of Taiwan Walker, but the reality of the situation is Andrew Painter's trending in the direction where that might be a consideration with him. If
he continues to have an awful outing every game, then yeah, sure.
I think his best work, if they want to just get on the ball early and really progress his career, I don't know if it's going to stunt his growth, but if this team wants to reach its true heights, pun intended, shout out to Jason Kelsey, they want to reach their true heights.
That would be new heights.
But. Yeah, but whatever. I think he's probably going to be a long reliever.
No,
for the
I disagree.
Playoffs.
For the playoffs.
Oh,
for the playoffs, yeah.
I'm not saying his career. I'm saying for the playoffs. But that's what I'm talking about. That's a risky game to play if you do that to stunt his growth and his confidence as a starting pitcher.
Well, and that's the other thing too is right now with what we've seen out of this team failing to get it done in the playoffs 3 years in a row, right? I think with this team, they need to start prioritizing player development over wins a little bit, not to a full extent, but a little bit, right? So I would prioritize Andrew Painter's development over wins right now.
But do you go too overboard with doing that? No, listen. Yeah. I'm talking about a different player. Felix Reyes, is that a forced situation? Putting him in the 4-hole.
That's the thing. It's like you could then also focus on Felix Reyes' development. You could also focus on I don't even know what Otto Kemp is up to these days, but I think he's a guy that can be developed.
Well, his development is in the minor leagues, though. That's the best trait for him. Felix Reyes has a true MLB poppy bat where he could actually he needs to be up, and that's actually.
But that's why you can't prioritize player development for too many guys, and then you're sacrificing a lot of wins. Maybe one or two guys, but definitely Andrew Painter.
I think they got really desperate.
This is a team that I think needs to be young and grow for the future. Right now, they have a lot of veteran guys in there who are still really good that can take this team to the playoffs because you still have guys like Schwarber and Harper and Turner, but. Those guys are getting older now. You have to think about the future, and I think you need to focus on player development to a certain extent.
Yeah, but I also think that they got really desperate, and that's more so of a move with Felix Reyes. You do right before the trade deadline in later June, test them out at the 4-hole if you need a spark. But the situation they got themselves in early, trying to, they did fire their manager before May. They were throwing darts at the board trying to figure stuff out on the fly. So you usually see that later on in the season. Then maybe you assess the roster over that time period to see what you exactly need. But I think they need to develop these guys because they need to develop a bench to be able to actually support the starting lineup they have, because that's one of the elements that separates them from the rest of the league. And we talk about it all the time. It looks like maybe Justin Crawford could actually have some big moments potentially in the playoffs.
That's what I was going to say next. Is the beauty with Justin Crawford is with him you can focus on development without sacrificing wins. He's actually helping the team win.
No, but I'm saying on the
I know what you're saying, but I'm just saying that's one thing I wanted to add.
I'm literally talking about developing straight up bench players. I
know, but I'm just saying that's the other thing I wanted to bring up Justin Crawford and say.
I think Otto Kemp could maybe be a bench piece for you and have versatility.
I really like Otto Kemp, man. I really like.
But at the end of the, I know, but at the end of the day, it comes down to production too. And this year it was bad. Last year he had flashes and he looked pretty decent.
And that's the thing. That's why you have to. That's why you have to be patient with these guys. And one example, now, you can't be this patient because had they been this patient the whole time, they would have been sacrificing wins for years. But look what Mickey Moniak has become now. And that's what I'm saying. You couldn't have just had him in your starting lineup all this time until he just got good just now. But what I'm saying is when you're patient and you let guys develop, they can eventually turn into very good players. I mean, Mickey Moniak is having an unbelievable season right now. Now, some will say he is a Coors Field merchant because when you look at his stats, all of
That's
his
what I
good
talk
stats
about.
come
The
from
Rockies beating you at home is different than the Rockies beating you
all
on the
of his
road.
good stats are coming from Coors Field this season, but still, I mean,
no, he's a solid MLB player.
He is. No,
think about some of the names they
is.
got rid of. We talk about the lack of pop they have in their lineup. I know they were like top picks and they were expected to be like the faces of the franchise one day. But imagine if O'Hoppe and Moniak were providing a little bit of pop to the lineup, like with like the foundation that they have set with the veterans. Like, I mean, that could be interesting.
But one final thing I wanted to talk about is what a good season Brandon Marsh is having.
Did you say he's like literally top 5 all time with balls in play as a hitter?
I did see that. Yeah, and you know that's the thing too. What I was talking about earlier when. You know, it's good to get on base because when you're on base and you have a guy who just puts the ball in play, when you have a guy on base and you put the ball in and you just put the ball in play, good things can happen. And that's what you get out of Brandon Marsh. And not only that, but this year, Brandon Marsh, a guy who famously has struggled against lefties, he's batting .308 against lefties this year. And shout out Don Mattingly for not overmanaging like Topper was and actually starting him against lefties.
Well, that's the last time we should lead off until we get into the Sixers. Don Mattingly. Bryce is obviously... I like outspoken Bryce. I like when Bryce is outspoken and actually speaking his mind. Because I know that's who he is. Like I know there's certain guys like Kyle Schwarber's going to give you a PR answer, and that's kind of more so of like his actual personality because he's just like more so chill. But like we know how fiery Bryce can be, and when I think he just goes out there and makes an adamant statement like what he said about Bryson Stott, you know, I know Edmundo Sosa of anybody. I'm like the leader of a straight up fan base. I mean, I've been clamoring saying he's a fan. Yeah, whatever. But with that being said, what Bryce said, like standing up for Bryson Stott, do you think that has like an effect? I know he kind of went against Don Mattingly in a way, and that's the way that people see it, and that's what Philadelphia sports radio would run with. But after that adamant statement in favor of Bryson Stott, did Bryson Stott not go on this week to have a pretty damn good week as a Philadelphia Philly?
He had a great week, yeah. No, and listen, Bryce Harper, I mean, he's the locker room leader. He's the kind of guy that, you know, with his resume, with his seniority, that's the word I was looking for, you know, and with how outspoken he is and how much of a leader. When it's different than if you have like a young stud come into the locker room and start saying stuff. You know what I mean? When Bryce Harper, a guy who's been around as long as he has, who's been on the Phillies as long as he has now to this point, and has the resume, when he's outspoken, and he's being a leader, that's a guy you actually listen to what he's saying. That's a guy you take stock in what he's saying. That's a guy that you don't say, he's undermining the manager. No, Bryce Harper is that guy. He can say those things. He has earned that right over the years.
100%. And it's one thing to say that and put up regular season stats and like people claim, empty MVPs and stuff like that, which is just completely not true. But I'm just saying the people that hate on him, that's the type of things they say about Bryce. But when you're a playoff performer the way that Bryce is, I mean, just shut the fuck up and listen to Bryce Harper. Yeah. That's just what it comes down to.
Absolutely. So. I mean, he's the guy who hit the home run to send them into the World Series.
And I don't know if the Phillies have like a young star because we talked about them being older with the veterans. But I like the supporting cast that they have, and Bohm and Stott are coming around to me. Like, if this thing actually materializes into with Don Mattingly running the show, maybe I'll change my stance on wanting to trade them and change up this era. But it's kind of similar to the situation with the Sixers having Tyrese Maxey as opposed to Joel Embiid. We know Tyrese Maxey is like the young face and is going to be the next generation. But when Bryce Harper's on the Phillies and when Joel Embiid's on the Sixers, at the end of the day, everything is still always going to run through them emotionally and physically on the court and on the diamond.
Yeah, absolutely. And so, I mean, now let's transition that into talking about the Sixers.
Before that, we have another Philadelphia sports topic I want to touch on real quick, and I'm going to give actually my meatball of the week. So I'm going to put on the meatball of the week segment.
Deal meatball of the week, a Metagon meatball. It's not a very good tasting meatball if it's made by Metagon, but go on.
I'll put my mother's cooking right past your mother's cooking.
Whoa!
Yeah. Oh! And your mother is my meatball of the week!
What?
No, I'm joking. I'm just joking. I wanted to catch you off guard there. No, but my meatball of the week is actually somebody that we saw in action last night. UFC 328 in Newark, New Jersey. We had the Philadelphia guys in action. You know, I'm a big UFC guy. Put out a lot of content on my What's the Deal Sports page. Trying to branch it out into the Paisan Sports podcast as well. So we had two big-time Philadelphia fighters in action in Sean Brady, who is now going to be in the top 5 of the 170 welterweight division. He climbed all the way up to the height, I think, of like 2 or 3 before. Lost and then got himself back on track. His opponent, Joaquin Buckley. Very stylistic matchup, grappler versus striker. Sean Brady, one of the best grapplers in the world. Joaquin Buckley, a very explosive, dangerous striker, has knocked out some big names in the UFC like the Stephen Wonderboy Thompsons of the world. And Joaquin Buckley thought he was just going to go in there and say in an interview, "Oh, I'm not too worried about Sean's wrestling or anything. I don't have to really work on it. I'm just going to go in there and knock him out." We also, before the fight last night, there was odd activity on the betting lines. A massive bet came in on Joaquin Buckley. Someone to strike a mortgage type payout on a loss from Sean Brady. So Sean Brady was a minus 150, actually minus 176 when I did my podcast yesterday. In about 30 minutes, he flipped to a plus 160 underdog. So bettors and casuals out there that aren't tuning into the UFC weekly, that don't know what they're talking about, even posting all my videos of when I interviewed Sean's coach, Jonathan Webb. You can go check out that on my page. But I interviewed the coach. He's telling me it's a different world when Sean gets you on the ground. And what did we see last night? 2 judges gave Sean Brady a 30-25, a score criteria we don't normally see awarded in the UFC. I was actually exaggerating online yesterday watching the fight. Obviously, I'm rooting for Sean. Pat Sabatini, another Philadelphia guy, got a dub. Also, minus 174 money line. And I was rooting for Sean online, and I was exaggerating, saying 32-25, giving him, the score criteria is 30 in a 3-round fight for a decision that you can max out at points-wise. But they will deduct points from the losing fighter of the round if you're getting just your absolute ass whooped. I'm saying not only was that a 30-25, that looked like a 32-25, as in you should give Sean Brady more points because of the ass whooping he put on Joaquin Buckley. If I want to pull up the stats real quick, Dante, just to make matters worse for the people that don't fight, let me pull up this picture too. Let me show it to you first, and then you tell me. I know you didn't watch the fight, but does it look like who won that fight?
I would say the guy on the left.
What do you guys think about this picture real quick? For a guy that can't strike at all. What do you guys think?
You seem very passionate about this topic.
I am very passionate about this. I'm very passionate about South Jersey, Philadelphia MMA, as you can see. Do a lot of stuff for it. Make a lot of content. Had the pleasure of interviewing Sean's coach. But if we look at the strikes, Dante, total significant strikes landed in this fight, or total strikes landed in this fight. 245 with 416 thrown from Sean Brady. Joaquin Buckley landed 21 strikes over 15 minutes and 2 to the head of Sean Brady. And I showed you guys, obviously, that picture. So Joaquin Buckley, I even said it when I was talking to Coach, that you need to work on your takedown grappling defense or it's going to be a long night for you. I actually thought it was going to be a short night because Sean almost got that second round Kimura that I was talking about. He almost got in the end of the first round. But I was going to say it could be a short night if you don't work on your takedown defense, but it actually ended up being a long night for you, Joaquin Buckley. So you need to go back to the drawing board, stop doing all those interviews, and work on your grappling defense. So Joaquin Buckley, you were my meatball of the week. Shout out to Philadelphia MMA and South Jersey MMA as well.
And there it is. Now, looking at the Sixers, first of all, what a difference a week makes, because a week ago when we did this podcast, we were very stoked on the Sixers, and now they find themselves down 0-3 against the New York Knicks. Series is 99.999.
You know why this hurts more, Dante?
% over. Here's the interesting thing, and I'll let you get into that. So Joel Embiid is listed as probable for today's game with a hip injury. That's been bothering him all series. The Sixers are only 1.5-point underdogs today, which I find shocking. But anyway, go ahead.
They were 1.5-point favorites the other night before Joel even got listed to play. But you know what makes it more painful, Dante? What I was saying was, even though it's the second round, we didn't expect them to get here. I think everybody could agree that we thought the toughest test we had already gotten past.
Yeah.
As in, we thought we beat the team that really gives us the toughest test. And I know the Knicks are a really good team. I just thought we could finally get revenge, and they have whooped our ass the past couple years in the playoffs. They're right there with the Celtics, beating us in the playoffs almost like the same amount of times and the same volume and frequency. But, I thought, like I said, we already got past our toughest test, and now we find ourselves down 3-0 in the series. Regardless of Joel playing or not, they had their chances even in the games when Joel didn't play.
Yeah, well, no, they definitely, game 2, first of all, they had a huge opportunity to win that game. They were controlling the game throughout most of the game, I would say. And not only that, but that was a game where Mitchell Robinson didn't play. Karl Anthony Towns found himself in early foul trouble. He barely played the first half. The backup center they had found himself in foul trouble. So then you had OG Anunoby putting in minutes at center.
That's what flared out the Celtics in Game 7. How many times? I know how you feel about Jaylen Brown. Let's meet on common ground here because, I think a little bit differently, as in, I don't get caught up into, the verbal stuff. I do think that was really lame of him, and a lot of people came out and said all that streaming stuff, that was completely lame.
Yeah.
But him complaining, also, when you look at it from this way, you got to give respect to Jaylen Brown. Bro, he covered Joel Embiid in the post for, 18 straight minutes down the stretch in Game 7, just getting whooped in the post. You got to give him respect as a basketball player when you think of it that way. And why he was complaining.
I will, but the one thing I wanted to say about Game 2 was when you look at that, when you look at, their third center getting minutes and then him getting in foul trouble and OG Anunoby is getting minutes at center, all I could think was, what a shame Joel Embiid is not playing in this game. Because if Joel Embiid was playing with that situation of OG Anunoby getting center minutes and that third center getting minutes, that would have been barbecue.
Well, they also did that.
Joel
You saw the Knicks are smart, man. They got Mike Brown, we talked to Brandon Scoopy Robinson, OG LeBron coach, dates even way back before then. Assistant coach with the Warriors during some of their championship runs. This dude has been everywhere. The Kings are so bad. The Kings are ridiculous. One of the sorest franchise. They're with the Rockies. I think the Kings and the Rockies are right there.
Both purple teams.
Yeah, and they're just horrific as in producing for their fans. And they have so much talent that go through that organization. Mike Brown is no slouch just because he got fired by the Kings and they had a bunch of talent. He's a legit coach. Where I'm going with that is when Joel gets listed as out, Mitchell Robinson just gets the night off with an illness. They're just they're match and move. It's chess out here. They're matching move for move. There's ways around. We talked about the Heat and the way that they always used to do their injury report 30 minutes before the thing. You have no clue who's going to play. This guy's, all the weird stuff that used to happen with that. They're smart and they have a whole game plan that they run out there. And I don't even know, where I'm going at is where I don't know if OG's even in that situation if Mitchell Robinson plays and Joel plays, you know what I mean, to take advantage of that. Because I brought up Jaylen Brown because that was a winning formula for the Sixers. You try and put, no one can cover Joel regardless. You try and put even one of the best forwards in the league on him, it's not going to matter. It doesn't matter. So I don't know if they would have been able to capitalize on that because I don't know if the Knicks would have put themselves and left themselves vulnerable in that situation.
That's a good point. That's a good point, but it is a shame because Game 2 was winnable. So was Game 3. Game 3 was very winnable. They just kind of blew it there at the end. And I know one thing we talked about last week was, you were very low on
Adem Bona.
I was going to say Jared McCain. But right now, the way this series has gone, it is evident. It is evident that Jared McCain is definitely a guy that
this is the way I'll break it down to you. And if you guys really don't know, you can go watch my podcast with Brandon Scoopy Robinson. I don't even think I have to really say this. I'm not even trying to have an ego towards it, but I feel like at times not to put myself out there, but like I feel like people kind of sleep on my basketball knowledge. Like you can see how I can just recite stuff off the brain, off the rip. The way that I'll go with it, roster construction wise, because I like put a lot of thought into like NBA trades and different stuff, so way to build rosters. When I look at Jared McCain, I think of it this way. When I say those things, I'm envisioning how people thought he's like the running mate with Tyrese Maxey in the backcourt, and he's like the superstar that VJ Edgecombe now is for them. You know what I mean? In that role. If we look at it from the backup point guard position and how they can be helped now in the playoffs for the Sixers team currently, one of the worst trades that we've seen.
Because
they don't have
saying.
a true.
Because
not only do they not have a true backup point guard, I mean, I wish Kyle Lowry was 10 years younger. I mean, imagine prime Kyle Lowry as the bench piece
or even Kyle Lowry of 4 years ago.
That's what I'm saying. Coming off the bench, like that Miami Heat Kyle Lowry coming off the bench for the Sixers, they would probably be like title favorites with the lineup that they have, and then they had him coming off as like one of the pieces as opposed to that, and they would have a perfect rebounding big that can't, do all the things that Joel does, but like a traditional good backup big. You have a four that can give you the spot points with Justin, and he's not forced to be like a true eighth guy off the bench in a playoff game. He can be like more of a 10th guy that can just give you microwave points. You have Quentin. You have like the 4 or 3 pieces off the bench, as in a combo guard that can play forward and guard. You have a true point guard in Kyle Lowry, and then you would have had the big in Andre Drummond. And I mean, Jared McCain, that scoring output off the bench, what he's able to provide for the Thunder. I also just think,
and when you look at the lack of scoring off the
deep.
bench for the Sixers, I mean, Quentin Grimes has done absolutely nothing this series. Now, one guy coming off the bench who I want to give a lot of credit to, what a performance we saw late in the game from Dominic Barlow, man. I mean,
oh my God, that dunk that he had?
That dunk, like but not only that, I mean, the defense, the hustle, all of it. He really showed up in game 2, and it really is a shame that
it's funny because I said to myself, I tweeted on like Dominic Barlow sighting, like that was the first time that we seen him. We obviously know, we just talked about how their bench looks and like needing a combo guard and like a big, but they still don't have a power forward in their starting lineup or really coming off the bench that can make a true impact, and like he played some pretty good minutes the other night.
He did, but I mean, if he had
might be a little bit too late.
Yeah, like if you had to ask me, I would say today is when we get put out of our misery and the season ends.
You think it ends today?
Yeah, I think it ends today. I mean, they just look lost out there late in the game against the Knicks. I mean, they looked completely lost throughout all of game 1, and late in the game, in game 2 and game 3, they just look lost, and they just seem like they're no match for the New York Knicks. So I think it ends today. I think this is it, and then we look to the future after that and build around these young players.
I mean, I guess that's like it's definitely a fair assessment to make. I also don't have too much confidence as a whole for this like series moving forward.
Well, I mean, you can't. They're down.
As for today, if I want to isolate today just for Game 4, I mean, like I said, these past couple of games outside of like Game 1, it's like those crucial minutes, and I think what you're saying is kind of creeping back up onto us from back in the day. And I tried to steer you back off topic, or I tried to change the narrative a little bit of the way that you thought, and then it kind of just like the wavelength of it just kind of hit like a bumpy Angry Birds type of road. Was Tyrese Maxey? He's kind of up and down in those clutch playoff moments, and dude, he's just. His shot IQ at times down the stretch is just so bad.
It's awful.
So bad. And then on top of that, when Joel does get the ball in his hands, he feels like he now needs to play hero ball, and then he starts chucking up shots and like playing a little bit closer or a little bit further away from the rim than he needs to be for us to be set up truly. And then Paul doesn't really know when to take over. It's like an escalating domino effect.
Here's one thing I want to say about Paul George. He had an incredible first quarter in game 3, and then did nothing the rest of the game. So I mean this team, after watching the first 3 games of this series, I'm just ready for it to just end today, and then we can move on. Look to what the Phillies can do this season now with Don Mattingly, and look to the Eagles season, which I'm very excited about. I actually just saw on Instagram just now reports that Jalen Hurts and Sean Mannion have been hitting it off, so that's definitely a positive sign.
Yeah, for the Sixers, they were playing with house money too. I mean, they had the big contracts on the roster, so we want them to maximize this window. But also, it's not every day that you stumble into trying to build a championship roster and then you go down in the dumps and the worst case scenario turns into the best case scenario for that scenario.
Well,
am I spitting bars? Do you know what I mean by that, though? Am I spitting bars as in you want to win a championship, that's why you add Paul George, and you move on from Tobias Harris. And it's funny because Tobias Harris is performing in the playoffs right now.
Why couldn't he? We had 5 postseasons with Tobias Harris, and we have never once seen what he's doing now. Why could he have not done that in the Sixers?
No, but where I'm going with it
I know, but just to get a little off.
Where I'm going with it is you want to win a championship, that's why you add Paul George. And then out of nowhere, you're one of the worst teams in the league, and you're like, damn. Like, are you going to fire the coach? Are you going to trade this guy, trade that guy? What's the GM, Daryl Morey's calling the shots? Like, what's going on with all these different pieces? It looks like mass hysteria is going on. Then you just stumble into the 3rd overall pick that's just this senseless superstar, and now you just, like, rejuvenate the roster out of nowhere. So, with that all being said, I want, these last years of Paul George and Joel Embiid to matter before the true reigns of Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe take over. But at the end of the day, they're still playing with house money, having Joel Embiid and Paul George on the roster and getting the experience for VJ Edgecombe and Tyrese Maxey in these moments. So when they go to take over, truly, they have these type of moments to reflect on and everything.
Yeah.
So for VJ Edgecombe's development, as a Sixers fan, yeah, I'm upset that we finally got over the hump with the Celtics, and then now a team that we thought was a lot easier of a matchup is just eating our lunch, and a team that New York sports a couple years ago was belt to ass in us, you know what I mean? And now it looks like those Knicks fans are just as crazy as us Philadelphia fans. They take over our home crowd. I mean, we got to admit, they were louder than Sixers fans a lot of that game, which is very...
And it makes me really mad at...
I know, it makes us very
Sixers
upset.
Fans. No, it makes me mad at our own fans. You can't allow that.
But with all that being said, like, we have a dude that just played his first year in the NBA if the season ends tonight, and he just played, 10 playoff games versus 2 of the best teams that are probably going to be around teams that he's going to keep seeing in the playoffs for years. Got to play with some of the best players of all time in Joel and Paul George, and his running mate now for the next couple years against some of the best players of all time in Jason Tatum and Jaylen Brown, and also, Jalen Brunson, dude.
Yeah, he's
a beast, dude.
He's tough, man. He's tough.
He's
but the one
thing
I will say too is, as bad of a trade as it was to give up Jared McCain, and it pisses me off so much because it was clearly a move to just duck the tax. And when you have Joel Embiid saying going into the deadline, I think we have a good team, please don't duck the tax, and you do it and you trade away Jared McCain, and now this team has no bench in the playoffs. That pisses me off.
I don't know exactly.
But,
hold on. Let me expand on that real quick because. You know they actually got money back from when Paul George got suspended?
I didn't.
And that happened after the trade deadline. So they naturally got money, back that they didn't really expect after that made. So that could have... You could have kept Jared McCain and then ended up getting the money back.
And you would have had a bench in the playoffs. But the point I'm getting to is, as much of a bad trade as it was, the pick that the Sixers now have in the draft, if you're looking at the future, the pick the Sixers now have in the draft, thanks to that trade, is the 22nd pick. Maxey was taken with the 21st pick. Now, not to say the 22nd pick is going to turn into a Tyrese Maxey level star, but my point being that there is a good chance you get an impact. There is not a good chance. There is a chance that you get an impact player with that 22nd pick.
Or you get Timothy.
Hopefully be a building block in the future along with Tyrese Maxey and VJ Edgecombe.
Or you can get that dude Timothy. What was his
Chalamet?
name? No, Timothy. Yeah, what are you talking about? You're talking about the Knicks superfan that's hitting Jenner.
Well, no, because his last name was something. It was
Timothy Luwawu Cabarella or something like that.
Timothy Luwawu Cabarro. Yeah. No, that's exactly what it is. That's exactly what it is.
I mean, dude, you see, I'm trying to type his name in.
No. It starts with an L.
No, I know. I'm butchering the whole Timothy Chalamet. Luwawu Cabarro. Yeah, we drafted him in the mid-20s, and that didn't work out. Springer. Jaden Springer, that didn't work out. Went on to the Celtics.
Tyrese Maxey. Not Tyrese Maxey. Matisse Thybulle worked out a little bit for a little bit.
We made a trade with one of those 20 picks, and we got that David Roddy thick. Pause. Thick.
Okay, stop saying thick.
Thick.
Stop it.
Thick power forward. 6'6", thick power forward. Charles Barkley Jr.
Whatever happened to Broom? We never ended up seeing him this year.
Oh, he's Jaleel 2.0, bro.
Yeah.
He literally is Jaleel 2.0.
Yeah.
Like, if you put him in the G League, like, he's probably going to drop 22, 10, and 8 and cook everybody in the post. But as an NBA ball, like, the thing about him is, like, dude, remember his vertical at the combine?
Yeah.
What was it? Like, wasn't in the 20s?
Was I mean, yeah, because we drafted, like, the 2 highest vertical guys in the draft.
Yeah, I guess that's the balance. Like, Eli Stowers can always come off the 6.
Remember Jonah Bolden? Remember that guy?
That was my favorite of all time, dude. What? We got him on the 4 for $6.5 million contract. 24.5-inch vertical league as an NBA player is, bro. Let me think of a crazy name to throw at you. Bro, Tavondre Sweat, the nose tackle on the Titans. I think he actually just got traded in a swap to the Jets this offseason. He did. He got traded for a 1v1. I forget the player.
The AI breakdown on
but
that
he
is
was
funny.
6'1 or 6'2", 360. He, I think, might have a... Let's get the comparison. Tavondre Sweat has a 26-inch vertical leap at the NFL Combine at 6'4", 366 compared to Janai Bruce.
Yeah, no.
Eagles tight end Eli Stowers jumps 45.5 inches in the air. I'd be down to see VJ and Eli team up for some... Dude.
Hey, man, listen.
Could we ever see a Deion Sanders? Could we ever see a dude putting on for the city like that again? Like a dual sport athlete? It doesn't.
You'll never see that.
I mean, we're not even. I don't even know if we're gonna see Travis Hunter playing both ways for the Jags this year in the NFL. But I think that's definitely more realistic than as opposed to like someone coming back and just like
one of my favorite
double
things,
sports.
One of my favorite things about Chuck Bednarik is back in the day he called out Deion Sanders because Deion Sanders was getting a lot of hype for playing both sides of the ball, and Chuck Bednarik was like, I played center and middle linebacker. You're playing wide receiver and corner. It's not the same.
Physicality wise, yeah.
Yeah,
but if
exactly.
we're talking about like the hardest positions, I mean, dude, cornerback is like
corner. In my opinion, corner is the toughest position in football.
Yeah, so if you're playing that and then you have to run routes the entire time, even when you're not getting thrown the ball, that's kind of a bad take.
But from a physicality standpoint, it is much harder physically on your body to play center and middle linebacker.
Dude, could you imagine playing middle linebacker and running back? Like the offensive line's crazy, but like you're literally getting hit every play, and then you're hitting people every play.
Here's what I will say about that. If you have the right size to do both, being good at one position can help with the other. Because it's kind of like in terms of like run defense with a middle linebacker, it's the same. You're doing the same thing, just on the other side.
You're just meeting in the hole.
Yeah, exactly. So, I mean, being a good running back can help with being a good middle linebacker and vice versa.
Yeah, I mean, dude, the people that just need the most respect in the NFL are fullbacks, dude. Like, they get paid pennies on the dollar, and they're just the physical. Because the fullback is... You have the size advantage as an offensive lineman. Dude, the fullback is matching up with every level of player on the defense, where he has to block out on defensive ends, fill in traps sometimes, or depending on the run play, has to fill on defensive tackles and nose tackles in the hole, and that might be the first person he sees in the hole if his offensive lineman isn't doing the job correctly and lets that leak through, and he's responsible for that to defend the running back, obviously, as the blocker and the main lead blocker. And then he has to go chase down like safeties that are bigger than him, run faster than him, hit harder than him, arguably. That are like the Cam Chancellor. Like, dude, you ever see the video of Cam Chancellor putting that offensive lineman down? Like, he literally, there's an offensive lineman trying to pull on him, and he meets him in the hole, and he literally gets the dude a concussion.
No, I don't think I've seen that.
That's like what you're dealing with.
I think my favorite though is in the Pro Bowl when Sean Taylor just laid out a punter.
Dude, that punter is a savage for getting right back up too. Remember, he popped right back up like nothing even happened, dude. Yeah. Sometimes when you get hit that hard, I see it in the UFC. Or MMA in general, where a dude will get completely knocked out by one punch, and the combination is still landing from the offensive fighter, and the second strike that wakes the dude back up, and he actually, like, he gets put completely to sleep, and then a combination with the other hand or knee or whatever limb it is, brings the fighter back to life, and he actually will fight for like another 10 minutes for the rest of the fight because he like literally gets stunned, flash knocked out, and then wakes back up from like a strike. So I feel like that's in like football too. Like fucking, you get hit that hard, man. Like it's sometimes you bounce right back up. You're like, dude, oh my good.
Yeah, it's probably the impact of the hit And then it's the impact.
But if you don't see it,
and then it's the impact of then hitting.
If you don't see it, if you don't see it, then I mean, it's Brandon Cooks. Brandon Cooks in the Super Bowl. You don't see it, you're cooked.
Yeah.
You don't
no
see
pun
it,
intended. No pun intended.
But dude, also
what he did see was getting power bombed by Rodney McLeod earlier in the game, which never gets enough credit. Never gets enough credit.
I mean, it's obviously a viral moment, but like Eagles talk wise, we got the NFL schedule release coming out in a few days on the 14th, so we're definitely hyped. We know the opponents for the Eagles and the divisions they're going to be matching up with, but to get the actual schedule, we actually know home and away, and we have for a while. But to get the literal schedule on paper and 1 through 18 week-wise is definitely something I'm excited to see. But where I'm going at with that is Cooper DeJean. Not just it's just a clean technical football play, but that Derrick Henry, that's probably one of my favorite plays of all time.
Yeah, I mean, absolutely. And that was a tackle that just makes every coach happy. That was as routine.
Put your top 4, because I know, like, Eagles growing up, top 4, I'm already building the list. I think I might have 3 right now. Defensive hits plays for the Eagles. I mean, Malcolm, let's eliminate Malcolm because...
I can do... Well, yeah, I can do that right away. So, number 1, obviously,
Go 1 for 1, though, because we did the Italian draft, which was fire. The one thing we messed up was... And we're going to change that when we bring the Italian draft back to life with the Italian NFL football players. You got every pick in sequential order. I second fiddle to every single one of your picks.
Well, yeah, I mean, somebody's got to go first.
Yeah, but it should be 1. You give 1 guy as the first pick. Then I get the next 2 and snake it. Yeah, because then...
No. This ain't fantasy football. But listen, my favorite hits in Eagles history...
Give me 1, I'll go back.
We're doing draft stuff? All right, well, I mean, number 1, I'll take the best one. Sheldon Brown's hit on Reggie Bush.
Malcolm Jenkins is eliminated because that's what started this topic. But I wanted to go a different route as opposed to, like, big hits and just, like, overall hits as in, like, clean technical plays. I'm going Superman Brian Dawkins. The Superman play on the sidelines back in the day versus the Giants where he jumps. I think it was Visante Shanko, the tight end. It might have been that he was talking down. But when he full extension dives and makes that play, it's one of my favorite Eagles plays of all time.
Definitely one of my favorite of all time. My next pick is actually a Brian Dawkins hit.
Oh, man, you took mine too. I actually gave the wrong one. Is it... if I guess it correctly, this would be mine for my next one. But if I don't guess it correctly, then just go on with yours. But you're going to say Algie Crumpler, NFC Championship 2004.
No, I'm going to say... Brian Dawkins hit-sticking Jerome Bettis.
Oh, yeah, that's a good one. Yeah.
That's my number 2, absolutely.
Honorable mention, preseason game. This is my sicko brain. Mike Vick throws a pick versus the Steelers in a preseason game and then comes up and chops somebody's legs completely down.
But what's your next pick?
It was the Brian Dawkins over the middle seam play in the NFC Championship where he literally annihilates Algie Crumpler versus Mike Vick. So that was a Mike Vick tie into each other there.
So that's is that your second pick?
No, there's I'm thinking of one. Hold on 1 second. I have like a couple that I'm gonna make sure I get the right one in my brain. Dude, honestly, here's a good one. Here's a new age one. Patty Mahomes, my boy, getting murked on that double hit in the Super Bowl that caused the turnover.
That is a great one. He
gets hit from up top and down low, and they didn't call the flag too. That was one of my favorite of all time.
I'll give you that. My next pick.
Oh, I got it.
My next pick is a technicality because he actually wasn't in an Eagles uniform when this happened, but I'm going to say it anyway because it is one of my favorite hits of all time. And that's Rodney McLeod.
Oh yeah,
laying out. Yeah. Which Denver receiver was
that?
That
was what's his name?
I'm blanking on his name.
I know exactly.
I know who it is. Emmanuel.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders.
Yeah, Emmanuel Sanders.
I completely drew a blank.
Yeah, that was right before he joined the Eagles.
I got another one. This is a sleeper one. This is like really this one hits home because I feel like this guy, when he was on the team, obviously a couple different stints. I don't know if you know exactly where I'm going with this, but a couple different stints. When he was here, like when he was making big plays, like the impact was felt. We loved it as fans, and we always appreciate him. C.J. Gardner-Johnson annihilating South Jersey's Isaiah Pacheco in the 2022 Super Bowl when he comes up in the open field and it looks like Pacheco has like literally a touchdown down the left sidelines, and he comes up and literally annihilates him in the open field. Just 1-for-1 clocks him. And I feel like that was like a very underrated play in that Super Bowl that kept that game close. I mean, That was when the Chiefs had all the momentum in the Super Bowl, and they were really getting downhill and making things happen. It looked like the physicality specifically in the game was changing. And Isaiah Pacheco, we know how explosive he is. Looks like he's running in the open field. C.J. Gardner-Johnson just comes out of nowhere and just lays the wood. I think there's another Sheldon Brown play that we're missing, isn't there?
I don't. Not
a play that keeps flashing in my brain too. Was actually a block from a defensive player. I don't know if you remember this. I forget which defensive player it was. I forget who it was, but when the Eagles picked off Tavares Jackson back in the day, Minnesota Vikings, and they had an interception return, and they're running down the sidelines, and Tavares Jackson's in the open field, and one of our defensive linemen literally picked up Tavares Jackson and like choke slammed him at like the goal line, like inside the 5-yard line.
Yeah,
like,
no, I was. That is one of my favorite hits, but that was I don't consider that a defensive hit, but yeah, no, I know exactly what you're talking about. That's one of my favorites. For my next pick, I'm going to take the one you didn't take. I'm going to take Brian Dawkins hitting Algie Crumpler.
I'm saying, yeah, that was like the technicality of me guessing that, but yeah, that was a ridiculous one. I'm trying to think, does Fletch have any, like, Fletch has had to, like, stalwart somebody in the middle of, like...
Yeah, but he doesn't have...
Dude, this is a sicko memory, dude. This is a sicko memory. Think about this one for a second. What was it? It was DeMarco Murray on the Cowboys. Primetime football. The year before he became an Eagle. Damian Square, rotational defensive lineman. I don't know if it was a block and a filled gap hole that he was pass blocking, or if it was a run play. Dude, DeMarco Murray decleated Damian Square and literally on the line of scrimmage. Like, let me show you this. I might actually, let me pull up I don't know if you remember this, Dante. This was, like I said, 2014, I think. It'll come up immediately. DeMarco Murray trucks Damian Square 2013.
Yeah, I don't even remember that.
Let's see if it's...
Was this the Thanksgiving game, I'm guessing?
This was a primetime game, maybe in November. I'm not exactly sure.
Then it sounds like the Thanksgiving game.
No, this was Sunday Night Football. I remember this was Sunday Night Football, Tony Romo era. Oh, yeah, no, this is on a...
No, but I mean, this was the same season as the Thanksgiving game.
Oh, my God. That's a core memory of us.
Calm down.
Oh my goodness! Maybe that was part of the reason why the Eagles signed him, but that was just sheesh. You know, it's an underrated one.
What?
Another memory. It's actually an offensive play. Versus the Cowboys. Dallas Goedert. I think it was his first or second year when he was still the backup tight end, and he would come in with the 2 tight end sets, and obviously the Eagles had been running 2 tight end sets for a while, as opposed to some other teams being more spread out. Dallas Goedert. Call a play that got called back. Catches a 77-yard touchdown.
Oh, yeah. Well, that was his rookie year.
Catches the 77-yard touchdown.
And that was the most ridiculous
running through offensive PI, and he's trucking everybody.
That whole game. I mean, the game started with the no clear recovery, which was one of the most BS Eagles moments.
I got one, dude. I got one. You forgot about this one.
What?
Big play Slay. Flipping Dak Prescott on the goal line a couple years ago in Philly.
I don't remember that.
You don't remember that?
No, I don't remember that.
Let me show you.
Didn't C.J. Gardner-Johnson have a big hit in that game against the Falcons last year? I feel like he did.
Look, it's literally exactly what I typed in is the exact... You don't remember that play where he was trying to trying to score and he literally upended him?
Yeah, I remember now. Yeah.
And Slay's actually boys with him because they went to the same school, Mississippi State. So, But I feel like, dude, we're missing a Fletch play. We got to be missing like
I don't think we are. I don't think he ever had a real big hit. I don't think we're missing one. I think that's it for Fletch, and that's it for the draft.
Dude, they hit somebody hard back in like 2016. To cause a safety in the end zone, didn't they?
That I do remember. I think it ended up being a touchdown because I remember watching that game with my brother, and they got the touchdown on it. And I remember being disappointed it wasn't a safety. And my brother's like, you would have rather had a safety? And I was like, we never get to see safeties.
Yeah.
Like, I want to see a safety every now
Speaking
and
of
then.
safeties, dude, you want to hear a random name that just popped in my head? Old Eagles player? Walter Thurman.
Oh, dude, that was an underrated season.
Dude, that was in the Doom days.
That
was,
Walter
2015?
Thurman 2015 season, that was underrated. He's the one who tipped the ball up to Malcolm Jenkins for the pick 6 on Tom Brady. He was pretty good that year. I was a fan of Walter Thurman. One guy I was not a fan of from that same year, Leotis McKelvin.
Oh, yeah, former Bills cornerback, too.
He's the guy who, he had an interception. He had that crazy interception.
Dude, a guy that used to, is so underrated for laying the wood back in the day. He wasn't a great tackler at all, but, dude, hit power-wise, when he lined you up and got you, and he was also arguably the smartest player to ever play his position, and it shows with the results of the stats he put up. Dude, Asante Samuel used to murk people randomly out of nowhere. I think he has to have... I know with the Patriots he had a couple where he cooked people, but... there's got to be some Eagles ones we're missing.
I feel like we've kind of covered all the big ones. The only other one, really, and it wasn't a big hit, but it was a big-time tackle, was the other flying tackle by Brian Dawkins when he strip-sacked Ben Roethlisberger to win the game.
Yeah. I mean, B-Dawk. I just, when I ask those questions... They venture from the dude that is the most productive in that department, as in we talk about home runs, Kyle Schwarber. So I try not to just run down the catalog of Brian Dawkins, but it's hard not to mention him 4 or 5 times.
Yeah,
on here,
exactly.
You know what
I mean, that was a guy who would lay you out and then thank the Lord for it. He was a fucking
obviously
crazy person.
Obviously, Jeremiah's got.
He would lay you out and yell, "Thank you, Jesus."
Jeremiah's definitely got a catalog. Dhani Jones has to have a crazy OG catalog off the edge for the. Eagles too. I love their linebackers back in the day in that era, but yeah, Dhani Jones definitely has a couple to his name as well. I'm trying to think. We haven't
I feel like we've covered them all. Honestly, we've kind of covered them all.
There's obviously you can go through the whole thing, but just off the top of the brains that
we've covered the big ones.
How do we feel about the Eagles? I mean, it's coming up on June.
I feel good, man.
It's good. May 10th.
I mean, this is the Eagles we're talking about. I feel good about them.
I know, but what is actually looming is we're pretty much 3 weeks away from what people think and claim to be the inevitable A.J. Brown trade.
Listen, I'm telling you right now, over the past couple weeks, ever since draft day, when they drafted Mekhi Lemon, it was like, oh, wow, A.J. Brown really is on his way out. Ever since then, I mean, we've seen hints that he's sticking around. To me, it looks like he might be staying. And
dude, I will always be critical of guys from Philadelphia, at times. I mean, A.J. Brown, I want him to be an Eagle just as much as everybody. I got a $300, not even $300, it's you can't even get this type of jersey. I had the old watermark, scrunched, official on-the-field jersey of A.J. Brown with a tag on it, sitting there because I wanted to frame it for the man cave and all that stuff. And, now it looks like it either could. I mean, he is an Eagles legend already.
Either way, you frame that.
Yeah, he's an Eagles legend.
We've won this.
No, but with all that being said, I'm to the point where I invest in merchandise on this guy. As in, dude, I want him to be an Eagle as much as anybody else.
Well, I want him to be an Eagle long enough to break Harold Carmichael's franchise record in receiving yards, because it's about time somebody breaks that record. It's from the 70s. Can we please have a new franchise leader in receiving yards? I've been waiting for it for years. I thought it was going to be Deshaun Jackson. Until Chip Kelly just got rid of him. I thought Zach Ertz had a chance, actually, at one point in time. Smitty, yeah, he's on pace, but, I mean, who knows with this franchise's track record in keeping wide receivers around. And A.J. Brown, with the amount of production he put up in his first years in Philly, as long as he sticks around, he will break that record. Or Smitty will also break it, and they'll be the 1 and 2 guys.
Dude, I think that, I think that they're, when you say all that and you talk about Deshaun Jackson, bro, I think about Deshaun Jackson's second stint with the Eagles where he played, maybe a handful of 10-something games, maybe even less than that, was hurt for, portions of the year, and, a couple games he played, he's just going for 2 50-yard touchdowns in the game out of nowhere. When AJ and Devontae bust on the scene as Philadelphia Eagles together in the run to the 2022 Super Bowl, I mean, bro, how many, of those, Pittsburgh Steeler games, Titan games moments that we see from AJ, these gigantic passing attack things we saw from Devontae as well, dude, I think we can get back to that era of, we haven't seen in the past couple of years. We saw it in the Super Bowl with the dagger with Devontae, but like consistently on a weekly basis, we can get back to that.
Well, here's the thing. I think if AJ Brown sticks around, I think we absolutely can for two reasons. One, I think the offensive coordinator plays a large role into the offense moving efficiently, and I have some sort of confidence in Sean Mannion. And two, I think with Mekhi Lemon now working out of the slot and putting up production over the middle of the field, that's now going to bring the safeties down a bit, and it's going to allow those big throws over the top to A.J. Brown and Devontae Smith. So right now, I think the chances of A.J. Brown sticking around, I think, are about 50-50 at this moment in time. And
I would still lean maybe like 60-35, but I think it's creeping towards becoming like a possible 60-40 situation, as in there's actual some steam. Social media detective in me posted a couple things, hasn't wiped the Eagles off his Instagram yet. Obviously has had a lot of big career moments with them, so that's kind of like an identity of the profile, to as in like who he is as an athlete with a lot of his success. He's had success with the Titans, but as an NFL athlete, most of it has come with the Eagles. Also put a green heart the other day on his Instagram post.
Well, and also, I mean, at the softball game, you know, first of all,
boy Matt was also involved
a guy
as well.
who, first of all, if you take a guy who is really unhappy where he is and he wants out and he's on his way out, I mean, first of all, I don't even think he plays in that softball game. And second of all, I don't think he's making those comments to the crowd after the game.
Also, with him being an athlete, he's the best player at the softball game.
Well, that is true as well.
I actually was able to do the Carson Wentz charity softball game as a media member back in the day, or with the likes of Elliott Shore Parks and John Clark, who's gigantic compared. He's like 6'7", 6'8". No, he's like really tall.
Yeah, that's what I hear.
But it was funny because that was when Richard Rodgers was the backup tight end, and his dad was, I'm not sure if he still is, but at the time was a college hitting coach, and Richard Rodgers was cranking softballs out of the park. Jake Elliott smacks bombs. And anybody will tell you Jake Elliott smacks bombs.
Dustin Pedroia type.
But A.J. Brown was drafted in the MLB by the Padres. So this dude is legit as a two-sport athlete. So maybe he just wants to go out there and crank baseballs at the end of the day. It's not too crazy. You know what I mean? But our boy Matt that we had on the podcast, Matt Sharico from CSB Media Arts, actually shot Devontae Smith.
Oh my God, you shot him?
Yeah, he shot him. I wouldn't put it past him. He is a New York sports fan, and he's been hunkering into talking some smack on Joel and everything. But no, he was actually doing the camera work.
Hey, did you hear about that actress that got stabbed, by the way?
No.
It was Reese. Reese. Did you hear about it?
Shut up. I know where you're going with this. That's like the dumbest joke you could possibly. You're giving dad jokes, and we haven't even brought up Mother's Day. So
yeah, well,
I'm going to ask you.
We'll end with that.
I'm going to ask you this, Dante. I saved the dessert for last.
Okay.
Where am I going with this? Don't cut me off. Let me just marinate you in suspense here. Just marinate you in suspense with some marinara. Dante, I want you to give me your mother's phone number. No, your mother's Mount Rushmore of cooking. 4 dishes your mother makes. I'm going to put you on the spot. I didn't even give you proper research to do because as a true Italian, you should know off the top of your brain what your mom's top 4 dishes are.
I can tell you right now. I mean, first of all, it's her meatballs, right? I mean, that's easily the number one. That's the go-to. Her pasta and meatballs.
Definitely frozen, right?
Kill yourself. Number 2, she makes the best. And actually, you know what? I think I'll put this at 1, actually, because she makes the absolute best. You won't even find it better in a restaurant. She makes the best chicken piccata you'll ever have in your life. It's phenomenal. We have family members come over to have dinner when she's making her chicken piccata just because they want to have some of that chicken piccata. So that's easily her number 2. Her number, and then her 3 and 4, they're not even Italian dishes, but she just does them very well. Number 3, she makes an excellent salmon. Terrific salmon, makes a really good salmon. That's number 3. And then number 4, I mean, salmon you could maybe, like fish is very common when it comes to Italian cuisine, so you can maybe, you know.
Salmon fishes?
You can maybe give an argument for the salmon being Italian, but I'm going to say number 4, She actually makes a tremendous turkey chili. She makes one hell of a turkey chili. It's not Italian. It's not really one of the Italian dishes, but her turkey chili is phenomenal. She makes that very well. I'm actually gonna put that at 4.
Turkey dish, you said?
Turkey chili. She makes a great turkey chili.
Okay.
She makes a great turkey chili.
All right, so, and then I want to also spur this into like one last conversation about Italian mother cooking. My Mount Rushmore, and this is what that conversation is going to be about. You either have to have a staple as an Italian mother or an Italian woman. You need to be able to be a high-level meatball producer or a high-level chicken cutlet producer. And
oh my god! Wait, no.
Because you're a Medigon. That's what you didn't say.
I forgot about her cutlets. I actually forgot about it. But I will say this. No, her cutlets are great, but I will say this, and she would not be happy to hear this. My father, he makes a better cutlet. My father actually makes the best chicken cutlets. My mother makes one hell of a cutlet, but my father, he makes the best cutlets. And you know what? I mean, I'm going to clip this again for Father's Day, and I'm going to post that, because on Mother's Day, I'm hyping up my father's cutlets. He makes the best cutlets, I will say that. And he doesn't make them enough. He's got to make them more. He rarely ever makes them.
As a grown man, you should be making them for yourself.
I mean, I make a good cutlet as well, but I'm just saying, my father, he's got it down pat. The one thing I will say, he puts a little too much locatelli. He raves about how much locatelli he puts in, and that is the secret to his cutlet. He does put in a hefty amount of locatelli. A little too much. Dial it back just a little bit.
All right, let's get back to the Manfredonia side of the Italianness of this podcast.
Ahead.
So the Manfredonia side, we're going with the Manfredonia cutlets. Manfredonia is actually a town in Sicily, Italy. So for all you people that think I'm a Medigon because my last name is Deal, I actually am probably more Italian and have a lot stronger Italian roots with my ancestors than you do. So there you go for that. But the chicken cutlets, got to put them on there for the Manfredonia side. Another one, you didn't say this. I think this is a low-key Italian dish, as in, like, people kind of underrate this. Chicken marsala. A nice chicken marsala hits hard, and my mom has been making it.
I'm not a huge marsala guy.
That's actually, marsala was something that, and that's a common name. I know Italian people from, like, high school with that, like, that's a real Italian. There's, like, I know Italian women named marsala. And for the marsala, I feel like the appreciation for the complementary foods like mushrooms and stuff being a part of that dish and the spices, like, that helped me, like, branch out my food palette. So I'm very appreciative of that.
Okay.
Another one, it's a pasta dish, Italian, but it's kind of like just like some, you know, on the realm of like chicken cutlets, kind of hype beast. You can get this anywhere, but we're not on some Olive Garden stuff for you Medigons out there. But chicken Alfredo has always been one of my all-time favorite dishes.
Well, I mean, chicken Alfredo is a Medigon dish.
Yeah, that's why I completely approve that it is a Medigon dish. But if you know what you got going on, I'm also, if we're talking pasta-wise, you see my hair. Angel hair kind of guy.
What? No.
Oh, you call me
an
bullshit. You call me an angel? Did you call me an angel?
What the fuck on me?
Why did you know what I was getting at when I said that? You called me an angel.
Because you were talking about your fucking hair, you moron. The best pasta shape, and I will never argue, I'm not willing to argue it, the best pasta shape, pound for pound, point blank period, is cavatappi, undefeated, can't be topped. Cavatappi, that's easily the best pasta shape.
Not to get off topic, I have to get my last one. I have to get my last one, and this might actually make it because my mom, when I still lived with her, would do this all the time. It was like a Friday tradition. But I just want to expand on what you just said, pasta-wise. I'll ask this, and then I'll ask something else. Pizza. Are you a toppings guy? We actually just got pizza for the Sixers game a couple weeks ago.
That's a phenomenal question.
Because where I'm going at it with is the vodka rigatoni pizza and penny pizza has been my thing recently. And when I'm watching sports, I'll
see. Here's the thing. I used to do the penny alla vodka pizza, but ever since
heavy, so many carbs.
That's my knock on it. It's too much carbs. Now, here's the thing. First of all, anyone who acts like you need to put toppings on a pizza, you're wrong. You're wrong. A plain cheese pizza by itself, phenomenal, right? That being said, I'm not a guy who doesn't enjoy toppings on my pizza. My top 3 pizzas, I would go plain cheese. Plain cheese. Phenomenal. Can't top it, right? In terms of American style pizzas, not factoring in the Neapolitan style and all of that. But in terms of like a plain American, put it in a regular pizza oven, not wood fired, blah blah blah, right? Plain cheese, best. Number 2, pepperoni. Simple. Slice of pepperoni on there pairs really well with everything. Terrific, right? Number 3, supreme. Load it up with the sausage, the pepperoni, the onions, the peppers, all of it. Put it all on there. Phenomenal. Outside of those 3, however, I don't really enjoy that many. Like, don't come at me with a pizzazz pizza. Don't fucking come at me with a pizzazz
there's some gimmicky pizzas, but I'm an absolute...
That's a bullshit pizza.
I'm an absolute
Don't
topping...
offer me a buffalo chicken pizza.
Yeah, no.
Eat a fucking buffalo chicken wrap. Don't interfere with the
bugging.
pizza.
But,
and
hold on.
No, one last thing. If you put pineapples on your pizza, you need to be excommunicated. Done. Banished. Get out of here. Now you can go.
I actually lost my train of thought, but you were just taking over the Manfredonia side when I asked you one question. You got a little bit too passionate, taking over the whole.
Well, because I needed to get to that. All right, okay. I needed to get to that.
Okay. Relax.
Fired up now.
Relax. Philly cheesesteak pizza, all that stuff.
That's
I'm a big
actually
toppings guy. There's this one place that everybody knows from the town that I'm in. Hopefully, this might spur a little sponsorship. Naples in Mullica Hill. I mean, chicken cordon bleu pizza, you'll never even see anything in the realm of that. You'll never see something even in the ballpark of that. Yeah, because you have no clue what you're talking about.
No, also, because I don't like when we start adding totally
also Vesuvio's Philly
cheesesteak
pizza, stuffed cheesesteak pizza. That's also
the only gimmick pizza I will accept. Well, actually, a cheesesteak pizza ain't bad, but the only gimmick pizza where it's like just take a whole different food and put it on top of a pizza, Nutella pizza. Where it's not actually pizza, it's just a dessert dish, but it's on top of a pizza.
That's the
like
Cinder Bar has that.
Do they? I didn't know they have that, but it's like Nutella,
the place
strawberry,
that and
all that.
Like as like a
Nutella pizza.
Let me get back to my
dish.
Mount Rushmore because you got way off topic here. My Mount Rushmore. So just a little review because we got a little off topic in the past 10 minutes. We got my mom, the Manfredonia side chicken cutlets. We're gonna go with chicken marsala, chicken Alfredo, and then I brought up pizza. Because this might be an honorable mention, but as for pizza, my mom makes homemade pizza.
Really?
And all different kinds. And
I will say,
we are somebody that like ventures out to the topping pizzas, but we also do like a chill pizza. Yeah. And then the other dough is for like the crazy stuff. So she'll make like a chicken Alfredo that's just like chill. It's not anything too crazy, like just chicken Alfredo sauce with some chicken. That's good stuff, man. From a homemade pizza, that's really good. Flatbread too. Because if you have the heavy bread with the Alfredo and all that, it's a little bit too much. But the plain pizzas and all that, yeah, that is definitely up there, and I absolutely love it. One thing I don't, before I get my last one, give a dish that you don't appreciate it much, like the chicken marsala, because mine is, I'm getting around to it. I'm not a big, like, random, I don't like, for some reason, complimentary foods sometimes geek me out. Like celery, I'm not like celery and chicken salad.
Celery is awful.
Yeah,
celery
why is it in chicken salad? I actually like it with raisins and apples. If you really
I don't like. I never eat chicken salad because I don't eat anything with mayo in it. I hate mayo. I despise
that's
mayo.
a personal opinion. I like mayo a lot on like as a complimentary.
Well, that's why you're
by itself, I'd hate it. My dad actually does Miracle Whip, but that's why we call him a Medigon. But bolognese,
you don't like the bolognese?
Yeah.
No, I could enjoy a bolognese without the carrots, but I mean, I love a good bolognese. And you know, like, there's a lot of Italian dishes.
No, I'm starting to appreciate a little bit more.
And if I want to talk about Italian dishes, I really enjoy that my mother, doesn't really make.
No, I'm talking about something that she like was a staple of her because my mom used to make bolognese all the time.
Like something like your mother makes, but you're not
frequently, and you're not that high on.
Well, I mean, I will say this: going back to pizza, my mother, she sometimes attempts a homemade pizza. She's not good at it. She does not make a good pizza. She does not make good pizza. But anything she does well, like I enjoy it. But just on a separate note, if I want to talk about like my favorite Italian dishes outside of what my mother makes, I love a good pasta fra diavolo. Fra diavolo sauce with like shrimp, other seafood in there. I love a good fra diavolo. I do enjoy a good bolognese. Now, one thing I like to make that I don't really make it much anymore because now I like really monitor my protein intake and it's just all carbs and vegetables. I love a good what I make is I love a good Trinite al pesto, and what that is, that's pasta with potatoes, green beans in a pesto sauce. Very underrated pasta dish, absolutely phenomenal. I love a good chicken franchise. I like a good I like a good veal parm. I'm not a big
all right.
chicken
We don't
parm
got to
guy.
get
I
through
like
the
a
whole
good veal parm.
discography. Okay, the whole discography.
No, we're gonna go through the whole discography of Italian foods.
Okay.
Because I like a good veal parm.
Okay, let me get my last. My mom loves veal parm. I'm not a veal guy really at all. Specifically chicken cutlet wise, like the chicken parm. I love my mom's chicken cutlets just in general, but the chicken parm is definitely, I always love that as well. I like pasta, obviously, and red sauce, however you want to go with the sauce, red sauce, whatever you want to call it, gravy, however you get down. But I do like, bolognese is obviously the consideration for that. But I do like, as my sister's calling me right now, but I do like Alfredo and vodka sauce more. So my last dish is actually going to be my mom's homemade vodka sauce because that's
she makes a good. She makes a that sounds good. I like good.
Yeah, you can't get she gets the heavy cream and whips it all up. It's not that that BS or whatever. So.
My grandmother, when we used to go over for Sunday dinners, I mean she made the best meatballs, even better than my mother's. But she would also make them with P&S ravioli, and if you never had P&S ravioli, that's the best ravioli. Those dinners were great. And my uncle, we used to do Sunday dinners at my aunt and uncle's house. And my uncle, he was the cook there, and he actually made some really good pasta and meatballs himself. You know what I don't like? You know what I don't like?
If we talk about I
don't like the pork. We talk about I don't like meatballs. The pork in there. The pork in there is not good.
I say the vodka specifically because we.
How do you feel about a braciole?
I mean, I like it. I like everything. I like prosciutto.
I like the braciole.
I'm not a big charcuterie guy.
I'm not a huge braciole guy. I like the braciole, but I don't like the pork in there.
I'm not a big charcuterie guy, but if we're talking about real Italian meats that someone actually gets down, my sisters make that.
For years, the Italians, we had antipasto with all the Italian meats and cheeses. That's what we have for years. And all of a sudden, it becomes a trend on TikTok, the fucking charcuterie board.
I went to this
and now we're getting antipasto confused with charcuterie.
I mean, that's not what I was talking about. I was talking about a prosciutto table.
Yeah, I know, and you're calling it a charcuterie.
No, because you didn't let me expand the thought because you were freaking out. I went to a high-level Italian place that I won't name, not saying that it was bad, but just the interesting thing was I'd never seen this setup, and we were kind of shocked by it. My dad is a massive Medigana. I don't even know if I had maybe more than a 10% percentile of Italian on that side of the family, and he likes tuna a lot. And they gave him a tuna, this antipasto. We got this antipasto and it had a clump of tuna on top of it. It was I never have seen that set up once in my life.
Yeah, no, I mean that's a punishable offense. I like a good ahi tuna, but the kind of tuna you get with tuna salad and all that. I don't like tuna. I hate that kind of tuna. I like canned tuna. I hate. And the two foods I hate the most is mayo and canned tuna. So then really the food I hate the most is tuna salad because you just combine the two things I hate the most. The smell alone of it, I can't even be in the same room.
Well, we probably could have fit all that food talk in for a whole nother podcast. We talked about it being, the last segment of that. It's spurred into a 30-minute conversation here, but thank you guys for tuning in to episode 135 of the Paisan Sports Podcast. We'll be back next Sunday, possibly if we get some high-profile interviews like we've been doing recently. We had Brandon Scoopy Robinson on, one of the top NBA insiders in the game, on Tuesday, so make sure you guys go check that out. And that was a little filler podcast that we did in between. If the Sixers are somehow able to expand their season a little bit longer, maybe we'll get into some Sixers pregame shows as the series progresses, but we'll see how that plays out. As for that, we'll be looking out for the Eagles' NFL schedule release coming out soon. We'll have the Phillies hoping to stay hot in the Don Mattingly era, and the Flyers look to regroup in the offseason with their season ending, and we'll see how they go about roster construction in the Rick Tocchet era with, I'm drawing a blank, Danny Briere calling the shots as well. Almost forgot. It's awesome when a guy from our childhood is now calling the shots full circle like that for
yeah, well, that's how some people probably felt when Mo Cheeks took over.
I was gonna laugh. I thought you were about to say Elton Brand. I thought you were about to make his career as a Sixer.
There was probably some people watching the Mo Cheeks Sixers that they had watched Mo Cheeks on the Sixers when they were a kid. So
was it before I said the name?
Because it was probably about the same sort of time gap. Actually, no.
I'm
Danny
almost
Briere
positive.
is
I don't want to
obviously.
say this beforehand because I would sound really stupid, but yeah, I mean that's
Yeah, Doug Collins.
Doug Collins, absolutely.
I mean,
is.
Mac, and then if you want to go back even further, a distant relative of mine, technically, Matt Guokas. Was the assistant coach and then the head coach for the Sixers back in the 80s, and he played for them in the 60s. Now his grandson is my cousin, Matt Guokas. So that's
to see a
another
full
one.
circle, like play all the way out like that. Even the last comparison we'll make, Vic Fangio was like a diehard Philadelphia sports fans growing up, and then this is a guy that reached the heights of being a head coach in the NFL. For him to land a job in like his twilight years, even though it's not anything production wise, the Eagles have arguably one of the best defenses, if not the best defense in the entire NFL. But for a guy like that to land his like almost like theoretical dream job in his later years of his coaching career is definitely awesome to see. And you love having guys that like not only are trying to produce for their career itself, but also are actually emotionally invested in life.
Yeah, because
Vic Fangio will come up to your press conference and like start talking about why the Phillies are like using he'll say the same thing with the sicko stuff like why is Dylan Moore in the 4-hole that all of us diehard fans and people in the sports media talk about.
Shout Big Fangio, man.
But thank you guys for tuning in to episode 135 of the Paisan Sports Podcast, and we'll be back at some point next week. Peace.